All right, y'all. We give praise, esteem, and honor to Abba and Shemaim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach this day. We're going to pick this up in John chapter 5, verse 39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, you receive me not. And if another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you, the Abba. There's one that accused you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. If you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? All esteem and praise the Abba and Shemaim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Shalom. Come on, Shalom. Leviticus 4:1.
And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Yasharal, saying, If a soul shall sin through ignorance against any of the commandments of Yahuwah concerning these things which ought not to be done, and shall do against any of them, if the priest that is anointed to do sin according to the sin of the people, then let him bring for his sin which he hath sinned a young bullock without blemish unto Yahuwah for a sin offering. And he shall bring the bullock into the door of the tabernacle of the congregation before Yahuwah, and shall lay his hand upon the bullock's head, and kill the bullock before Yahuwah. And the priest that is anointed shall take of the bullock's blood, and bring it to the tabernacle of the congregation. And the priest shall dip his finger in the blood, and sprinkle of the blood 7 times before Yahuwah, before the veil of the sanctuary. And the priest shall put some of the blood upon the horns of the altar of sweet incense before Yahuwah, which is in the tabernacle of the congregation. And shall pour all the blood of the bullock at the bottom of the altar of the burnt offering, which is at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. He shall take off from it all the fat of the bullock.
Yeah, that's good. Pour all the blood out. Acts 3 and 14.
But you denied the Kadash one and the just, and desired the murderer to be granted unto you. You killed the Prince of Life, whom Elohim have raised from the dead, where we are witnesses. In his name through faith, and his name hath made this man strong, whom you see and know. Yea, the faith which is by him has given him this perfect soundness in the presence of you all. And now, brethren, I know that through ignorance you did it, as did also your rulers.
It's also your rulers.
But those things which Elohim before have showed by the mouth of all his prophets, that a Mashiach should suffer, he hath so fulfilled. Repent you therefore and be converted, that your sins may be blotted out. The times of refreshing shall come from the presence of the Lord. He shall send Yahushua HaMashiach, which before was preached unto you, whom Shamahi must receive until the times of restitution of all things, which Elohim has spoken by the mouth of all his Kadash prophets since the world began. For Moses truly said unto the fathers, a prophet shall the Lord your Elohim raise up unto you of your brethren, like unto me.
Like unto me.
Him shall you hear in all things, whatsoever he shall say unto you.
Whatsoever he shall say.
It shall come to pass that every soul which will not hear that prophet shall be destroyed from among the people. Yea, and all the prophets from Samuel and those that follow after, as many have spoken, have likewise foretold of these days. You are the children of the prophets and of the covenant which Elohim made with our fathers, saying unto Abraham, and in your seed shall all the kindreds of the earth be removed.
That's good. 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 5.
That your faith should not stand in the wisdom of men, but in the power of Elohim. Howbeit we speak wisdom among them that are perfect, yet not the wisdom of this world, nor the princes of this world that come to nothing. But we speak the wisdom of Elohim in a mystery. The hidden wisdom which Elohim ordained before the world unto our esteem.
Indeed.
Which none of the princes of this world knew.
If they knew it,
they would not have crucified the Lord of esteem.
They wouldn't have did that. Acts 13 and 20.
And after that, he gave unto them judges about the space of 450 years until Samuel the prophet. Afterward, they desired a king, and Elohim gave unto them Saul, the son of Cis, a man of the tribe of Benjamin, by the space of 40 years. And when he had removed him, he raised up unto them David to be their king, to whom also he gave testimony and said, I have found David, the son of Jesse, a man after my own heart, who shall fulfill all my will. Of this man's seed have Elohim, according to his promise, raised unto Yasharal a Savior, Yahushua. When John had first preached before his coming, the baptism of repentance to all the people of Yasharal, and as John fulfilled his course, he said, Whom think you that I am? I am not he. Behold, there come one after me, whose shoes of his feet I am not worthy to loose.
Not worthy to loose.
Men and brethren and children of the stock of Abraham, and whosoever among you fear Elohim.
What else?
To you is the word of the salvation sent. For they that dwell in Jerusalem and their rulers, because they knew him not. Heard the voices of the prophets which are read every Shabbat day.
Every Shabbat.
They have fulfilled them in condemning him.
They fulfilled them in what?
In condemning him.
What else?
They found no cause, and though they found no cause of death in him, Yet desired they
Slow,
Pilate that he should be slain.
All right, let's come over here to Acts 7 and 32. Well, 31. You can make it 30 actually. Acts chapter 7, verse 30.
When 40 years were expired, there appeared to him in the wilderness of Mount Sinai and Malachi.
What's happening, man? What's good with your soul, what?
Bush. When Moses saw, he wondered at the sight, and as he drew near to behold it, the voice of the Lord came unto him, saying, I am the Elohim of your fathers, the Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Isaac, and the Elohim of Jacob. And Moses trembled, and durst not behold. Then said the Lord to him, put off your shoes from your feet.
This is what?
For the place where you stand is Kadesh ground.
What up?
I have seen the affliction of my people which is in Egypt, and I have heard their groaning, and have come down to deliver them. And now come I will send you into Egypt. This Moses whom they refused, saying, who made you a ruler and judge? The same that Elohim sent to be a ruler and deliverer by the hand of the Malachim, which appeared to him in the bush. He brought them out after that he had showed wonders and signs in the land of Egypt, and in the Red Sea, and in the wilderness 40 years. This is that Moses, which said unto the children of the Yasharal,
what he said?
A prophet shall the Lord Elohim raise up unto you of your brethren.
Like unto who?
Him shall you hear.
This is he
that was in the assembly in the wilderness, the Malachim, which spake unto him at Mount Sinai,
and
with our fathers,
who
received the lively oracles to give unto us,
and to whom
our fathers would not obey,
but what?
Thrust them from them, and in their hearts turned back again.
Now, he trying to tell you something, man. If there's a prophet like unto Moses, and they didn't listen to Moses, slow, Brother Marvin, then you know they're not going to listen to him. You know what I'm saying? That's what he's communicating to you. But the final place before we get off into what we here for, Luke chapter 23, verse 33, or 32. Luke chapter 23, verse 32.
And there were also two other malefactors led with him to be put to death. And they were come to the place which is called Calvary. There they crucified him and the malefactors, one on the right hand, the other on the left.
Other on the left.
And said, Yahushua, I will forgive them, for they know not what they do.
For they know not what they do.
Parted his raiment and cast lots.
Go ahead.
And people stood beholding, and the rulers also with him derided him, saying,
Yeah.
He saved others, let him save himself.
Come on.
If he be the Hamashiach, the chosen of Elohim. The soldiers also mocked him, coming to him and offering him vinegar, and saying, if you be the king of the Yahudim, save yourself.
Save yourself.
The superscription also was written over him in
what it say?
Greek and Latin. In Hebrew, this is the king of the Yahudim. One of the malefactors which are hanged railed at him, saying,
what he said?
If you be Hamashiach, save yourself and us.
Save yourself and us.
But the other answered and rebuked him, saying, do you not fear Elohim?
You don't fear God.
Seeing you are in the same condemnation.
You finna die just like him.
We indeed justly, for we receive
we righteously get rewarded for what we did.
But this man have done nothing amiss. He said unto Yahushua, Lord, remember me when you come into your kingdom.
Shalom, Jay. Remember what?
Remember me when you come into your kingdom.
What else?
Yahushua said unto him, truly I say unto
Shalom,
you,
Brother Ernest.
today shall you be with me in paradise. And it was
Stop. Who remembers what that Greek word for paradise means? We talked about it on Wednesday. I need to see who remembers what that Greek word for paradise means. And I'm asking that for a reason. To spill into something else. And this will be show a delineation with the prophet like under Moses and Moses. But what did this mean? What did that mean in Greek? Oh, y'all done forgot already. It ain't been but 48 hours. And enclosure was one of the definitions, so that's fair, so I allow it. But there were other definitions, one in particular that we focused on specifically with a passage to back it. Well, we gave one, but we got more. You know what I'm saying? We was talking about that earlier, right? Because my dog finna debate. That's what you were listening to. Them set that up while I was getting stuff set up, man. And he mentioned something, right, that I done told y'all before. You know, more people who deal with the word, because in that particular debate arena, it's solo scriptura. You know what that means? Obviously, it's a language we don't speak. No, it means solely scripture. So, place of pleasure, fair, Jay. So basically, that means that you can't use anything other than scripture to make your point. So he referenced something I told you all the time. Most people, irregardless of where they come from, don't know the word holistically. They only know it from the point of the matters and topics that they fuss over. You know what I'm saying? And that's a strong point to take into account. Peace, East, man. Now, I'm mentioning this because most of the time people will argue and debate theological things of this nature. I'm only mentioning this because this word paradise was debated in a scholastic sense. We're not approaching it from a scholastic sense at this present time. You know what I'm saying? I mention that because sometimes some things are not approached from a salvational aspect to bring about this very thing right here. Go to Isaiah chapter 64. Read verse 4. We could read it in Corinthians if you like. It uses different verbiage. We'll read it from where Paul got it from. Isaiah chapter 64 and verse 4.
For since the beginning of the world, men have not heard, nor perceived by the ear, neither have seen, neither have the eye seen.
Neither has the eye seen.
Beside you, what he hath prepared for him that wait for him.
What he has prepared for him that wait for him.
You meet him that rejoices.
That's good. What he has prepared for him that wait for him. Read it again.
For since the beginning of the world, men have not heard.
Not since the beginning of the world.
Nor perceived by the ear.
Nor perceived by the ear.
While the him beside you, what he hath prepared for him that wait for him.
Now go back to 1 Corinthians 2. Because this is where Paul referenced this verse. You can pick it up in verse 5 where we started from and let it flow into the passage. Because we're going to focus on this paradise. We did hit certain elements of how Yahusha is a prophet like unto Moses. Maybe a little different variants than the average person would use. But let Yahuwah be esteemed. Why would we do what the average person does? You know, dig 1 Corinthians 2 and 5.
That your faith should not stand in the wisdom of men, but in the power of Elohim. Howbeit we speak wisdom among them that are perfect, yet not of the wisdom of this world, nor the princes of this world that come to nothing.
Come to what?
Come to nothing.
What up?
But we speak the wisdom of Elohim in a mystery.
In a mystery.
The hidden wisdom which Elohim ordained before the world unto esteem.
What up?
Which none of the princes of this world knew, for had they known,
they wouldn't have
crucified the Lord of esteem.
But what else?
As it is written, I have not seen.
I haven't seen.
Nor ear heard.
Nor.
Neither have entered into the heart of man.
What?
Things which Elohim have prepared for them that love him.
That love him. Listen. So when we look at the aspect, and you could go back to Luke 24 and whatever verse you stopped at, we'll read the verse where Shalom, Sister Regina, where you'll be with me in paradise.
Verse 43.
Luke 23 and 43.
And Yahusha said unto him, truly I say unto you, today shall you be with me in paradise.
Give him the definition of paradise in Greek. Remember, it was 5 different definitions. 5 different definitions, if my memory serves me correctly.
That is paradisos. You want all 5?
All 5.
Among the Persians, a grand enclosure or preserve, a hunting ground, park, shady, and well watered.
So listen, again, I want you have to be able to make sure that you delineate. See, and I'm using this here because this is the part in that particular debate arena they won't allow you to do. So if you see that paradise, you wouldn't be able to explain it. In this definition, it's giving you the definition of this word based on the particular culture of how they seen it. They see the Persians, or who you would call now the Iranians, would see paradisos as a hunting ground. Continue on, good sir.
And then you got, it says, were kept for the hunt. It was enclosed by walls and furnished with towers for the hunters. And then you got a garden, a pleasure ground.
Stop. A garden, a pleasure ground. Now, that is the strict definition. A garden, a pleasure ground. Continue.
And then you have the part of Hades, which was thought by the latter Yahudim to be the abode of the souls of pious until the resurrection.
Now,
but some understand this.
What's happening with you, man? Listen. So it says some Jews believed it to be effectively Abraham's bosom. Continue.
But some understand this to be a heavenly paradise.
There's some that say, hey, this is something that's in the heavens. Whether above or below the firmament, they don't say. Continue.
And then you got the upper regions of the heavens, according to the early assembly fathers, the paradise in which.
Now, don't say that. That's church fathers. They know that's some white folk. No, I'm being serious.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Let me read to y'all who some of these church fathers is, because y'all might not make new to, because them church fathers are not necessarily the people who you would perceive them to be. Because see, if you want to say early church fathers, you would have to say the apostles.
Yeah.
Now, these are people who came after the apostles were deceased. I can't remember all of them by name, so I had to pull that up. So when you look at who the early church fathers were, these were influential theologians, bishops, and scholars who lived between the 1st and 8th century. They are recognized by the church for establishing core Christian doctrines, fighting heresies, and defining biblical canon. See, let me tell you something that it establishes what the apostles were doing. They weren't doing none of that. What do I mean by that? This is things that most of you should already know. When you look at what the apostles were doing, they were preaching the gospel of Yahushua HaMashiach. They were preaching that mystery that Paul said was kept secret since the world began, that if the men knew it, they wouldn't have killed them. You see, me the key word that isn't the paradise, but rather today, because the thief didn't go to paradise in that day. Neither Christ died. See, and I know that day part, look and see if even now. Because we're looking at it in the aspect of, did he literally go to this garden? But more so, he stated, you're going to get that reward. That's why I think, did we read Psalm? We read Psalm 32 last week. We can read it again in a moment, though. But I understand why you say that, though. I understand why a lot of people look at it that way. I never really viewed it that way, but I understand why many do, though, because that's fair from the construct of how the sentence is put together. So let me see something real quick. Now, that word today, which is semaron, it can mean this very day or what has happened today. And it this day or night, current or just past, generally now, the present, hitherto, or this or today. Now, I mentioned Psalms 32 and 1. Go ahead and grab that real fast and hold it for a second. These are the apostolic fathers. These leaders were the contemporaries of the original apostles, meaning they were taught directly by them. Their focus was preserving the gospel and defending the early church against false teachings. This is the Clement of Rome, Ignatius of Antioch, and Polycarp of Smyrna. Now it says Polycarp was a disciple of John. It says Ignatius was a bishop who wrote encouraging letters on his way to being martyred in Rome. Clement of Rome was a bishop of Rome who wrote an important letter to the Corinthians asserting church order. Then you have the ante-Nicene fathers. They lived during the apostolic age before the Council of Nicaea. Irenaeus of Lyons, a bishop who wrote extensively against Gnosticism, a prominent Justin Martyr, a lay apologist who defended Christianity against false accusations, and Tertullian of Carthage, a Latin writer who heavily developed the theological terminology for the Trinity. Then after the Council of Nicene, Augustine of Hippo, a bishop and philosopher whose writings on grace, sin, and the church deeply shaped Western Christianity. Athanasius of Alexandria, the great defender of the Trinitarian orthodoxy against the Arian heresy. Jerome, a scholar best known for translating the Bible into the Latin Vulgate. And John Chrysostom, a patriarch of Constantinople, known as the Golden Mouth for his masterful preaching and biblical exposition. Now, with all those men just mentioned, before we read Psalm 32, let's look at what the Lord taught his apostles. Luke 24 and 44.
And he said unto them, these are the words which I spake unto you while I was yet with you, that all things must be fulfilled, which were written in the law of Moses and the prophets and the Psalms concerning me.
And he did what?
Open he their understanding.
That they might what?
Understand the scriptures.
Romans 16:25. Now, why did we read that? Because none of the stuff that you heard the men mention that they were talking about had anything to do of what he taught them 12. Go ahead.
Now to him that is of power to establish you according to my gospel and the preaching of Yahushua HaMashiach, according to the revelation of the mystery, which is kept secret since the world began, but now is made manifest, and by the scriptures of the prophets, according to the commandment of the everlasting Elohim, made known to all nations for the obedience of faith.
Now, see, now they say the secret, right? Now, obviously, we talking about how if these people would have known the text, they wouldn't have killed the man. Now, why is all that important? The importance of all that is contained in the aspect of, and I ain't did no deep dive on it, so I can't speak on it authoritatively. But the reality of the situation is this. I'd be willing to bet that the majority of those fathers that we just named were not Yahudim. They were not Israelites. You know what I'm saying? And I perceive that they took influence of outside Gentile belief systems, thought, philosophies, things of that nature, and merged it with the word. So now when you come back 2,000 years later, these people are seen as authoritative instructors of the text when they taught things that the apostles didn't even preach. You know how do we know this? 2 Corinthians 11 and verse 1.
With Elohim, you could bear with me a little in folly, and indeed bear with me. For I am jealous over you with godly jealousy.
What up?
For I have espoused you to be to one husband, that I may present you as a chaste virgin to a Mashiach.
What up?
But I fear lest by any means, as the serpent beguiled Eve through a subtlety, so your mind should be corrupted from the simplicity that is in a Mashiach.
That your mind should be corrupted from what?
The simplicity that is
now,
in
you know what I'm
Mashiach.
saying? What's funny, right? When they was in there talking about that Godhead stuff the other day, Waters always say, he said, I refuse to believe that fishermen and tent makers were having these type of conversations. And I know some people might find that as odd or funny, but I tend to agree with him. And this is for this reason. You think these people were sitting around talking about a triune nature, agency, and things of that nature? He said that you wouldn't be corrupted from the what?
Simplicity.
Tell him what simplicity means.
Haplotes, this is singleness, simplicity, sincerity, mental honesty, the virtue of one who is free from pretense and hypocrisy, not self-seeking, openness of heart, manifesting itself by generosity.
Simple. He says simplicity. You see how it says sincerity? Now go to Yahushua Son of Noon 24 and 14. He said, yeah, bro, I'm with you. I don't rock with a so-called church father like that either. They be having too much leaven and people be accepting their lump. Accepting their lump is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Let me get that out of the way. That was crazy. You know what I'm saying? But I'm with you on that. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't really here, you know what I'm talking about, to ridicule them extensively. I'm just saying that I can, because a lot of the things that they introduced, you wouldn't be able to convince me that the apostles taught all of that. Based on what we can read of what he taught them. Because it said that he's going to raise up a prophet like unto Moses, and him will you hearken to. And if you don't hearken unto him, he's going to require your blood. So if you're talking about this is a life or death scenario, yeah, the things that these men were espousing on and talking about, this Caucasian stuff. And this just go back to what I was talking about, even in this modern time. You take on the thought process and arguments of white people. You know what I'm saying? That's their stuff. Because they don't have a culture. So all they do is borrow from other people's cultures and integrate themselves into other people's cultures and take it as their own and present it as if they came up with it, completely muddying up, destroying, and altering the original intent of information of the people who gave it. You know what I'm saying? And if you're not tapped in with the original intent of the people who gave it, then you're going to give an interpretation of another group of people of who it doesn't belong to. You know what I'm saying? Now, listen, there's a lot of black folks all across the United States of America that believe that the Bible is a Caucasian book. Considering the fact of what we've experienced in the United States of America in relation to the word and the organized religion of Western Christianity, I understand why they have that thought process. But all it takes is digging deep in through the text and looking at the particular standards, the particular way of life, and the interaction of that group of people had with that deity, good and bad, to see that white people ain't got nothing to do with none of that. If you pay attention to the nuance, they don't even have the spirit of the character of the people who are being described in it. I'm not talking about the curses either, man. I'm talking about the behavior. Good and bad. You know what I'm saying? Good and bad. And the biggest aspect in that text, man, for me anyway, from just general observation throughout history, they don't have the mercy, compassion, care, and soul of the people who are described in that book. And also this one here, no matter where this group of people went in this book, other people cleave to them. And when I'm talking about, I want you to sit back and I pause. I want you to think about that for a moment. Whether it was cleaving to the God, of course, the God has something to do with it. But no matter whether they were in Babylon, whether they were in Medes and Persia, if they moved from up out of there, it doesn't really talk about Assyria too tough. Whether they were in Egypt, whether they were in their own land, whether they were scattered, when you read about it in the first century, people cleaved to this group of people. Ain't nobody cleaving to no white folks if ain't no monetary gain to be got out of it. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody cleaving to them. So even when you look at this modern time now as discriminated and oppressed and looked down upon as you may be on this day of July, whatever day it is, of 2026, people still cleave to you. You know what I'm saying? People still want to be around you. You know what I'm saying? And you have to look at that. You have to pay attention to that. I ain't gonna sit back because they think you special and all that other stuff, but there's something about you that people want to fool with you. No matter the group of people, not all of them, of course, but a lot of them, there's a small contingent of every group of people who gravitate towards you. Now, I'm mentioning this is for a juxtaposition. There ain't nobody gravitating to no white folks, man. Not like that. I don't see it historically nowhere. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep it a beam with you. Ain't nobody gravitating to no African people either. You know how we know this? Because the African people gravitate to you. Nobody over there looking at no African and saying, let me be near to them. Ain't nobody looking at them like that. But nobody pays attention to that. Ain't nobody gravitating to no Asian folks. They all gravitate to you. Now, why they gravitate to you, you could come up with many a reason for that. I'm not here to go through all of that. I'm just telling you what I've observed. You know what I'm saying? This is something that I observed before I knew anything about the word. I've observed that. I've noticed that. That's something that you file in your mental Rolodex. You say they don't just have that natural charisma, quote unquote, or as they say. They do not. Most of them do not. They do not. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying whether good or bad, what you see in the text, people gravitated to you. Now, there's also the other element of the text, of the description of the children of Israel, that I observed with Black people, that I haven't observed with Caucasian people. I haven't observed Caucasian people looking at other people and wanting to live like them. Now, see, what Caucasian people like to do is hijack your culture, but yet they're going to turn it and flip it and make it their own. You know what I'm saying? I notice Black people, I want to be like this group of people. And you try to conform yourself to them. You know what I'm saying? I don't see white folks doing that. I just see them take stuff and make it their own. You know what I'm saying? Not, I want to be like you. So I'm going to dress like you, I'm going to talk like you, I'm going to worship your God like you. Everything that you do, I'm going to do. When I read the word, I see, Israel did that. They looked at the other nations. I want to do what they do. I want to do what they doing. I want to do what they doing. You know what I'm saying? Them people didn't conform to you per se. You conform to them. And just historically, objectively, I haven't seen, when I seen white people coming to Egypt, they took the Egyptian stuff, erased it, and then changed it and made it theirs. And then went to Rome and went to Greece and then took it and put their spin on it. The same thing they did with the word. The same thing they do everywhere they go. Even if you look at Judaism, if you say, hey, them white folks ain't Jews, they took the word as far as quote unquote Old Testament and they took and put a spin on it and added the stuff that they wanted to add to it that's not in there. So then when you look at the things that's in it, they're not necessarily doing the things that's in it. They're doing the traditions that they came up and created to separate themselves from what's actually in it. Because that's not really me. You know what I'm saying? I don't really want to do what's in it. I want to take elements of it so you think that it belongs to me, but I'm really going to do it how I want to do it. These are my observations. And I said all that because I believe that's what the church fathers did, personally. You know what I'm saying? Read me Psalms 32 and 1. You ain't had none of it.
The Yahusha, son of Nun.
Oh, yeah, 24 and 14, with the sincerity.
Say, now therefore fear Yahuwah and serve him in sincerity and in truth, and put away the gods which your fathers served on the other side of the flood and in Egypt.
Now tell them what sincerity means in Hebrew.
Tamayim, or Talmim, complete, whole, entire, or sound.
So when you talk about serve him completely, Say, bro, when I read Leviticus and the ancient Israelite getting the law, I see tribal people out in the wilderness dealing with blood and rituals that just don't sound like my Caucasian brother. And it don't. And again, this is not disrespectful. I'm talking about just paying attention to patterns of behavior of groups of people. And then if you, not saying you got to know all their history extensively, but if you, I say if you're an individual like myself who read a lot of books on humanities and study things of that nature, you know what I'm saying? Then you see a pattern of people's cultures, whether it's Asians, whether it's Arabs, whether it's Caucasians, whether it's Africans, whether it's Negroes. And you see a pattern of consistent behavior over an extended period of time of how these people have conducted themselves collectively. See, I'm not talking about individuals, like bro say, tribally, collectively. So you notice patterns. You know what I'm saying? That even when you get to 2026, those patterns still stand true. So like I say, when I first got in the word and seeing the other, not knowing nothing about no children of Israel, so I don't have any influence to the positive or negative to say, oh, these gotta be black people. I'm looking at the behavior that the text is espousing about this particular group of people, good and bad. See, I'm not the one just to focus on the bad because they come at you with the curses. Then I'm not the one just to focus on the good because you want to be these people. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at the nuanced conduct of the people. And I'm saying that's how niggas act. You know what I'm saying? I haven't seen white folks act like that. Like case in point, I always said this is one of the examples. Like I know Peter had to be black because when he said, "Hey man, if I don't wash your feet, you ain't got no part with me." Oh yeah, get my hands in my head too. That's something that a black man would say. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying a white man may think that, but he wouldn't say that out loud. You know what I'm saying? From my experience, I'm not saying this is 100% accurate. I know I've seen niggas say some stuff like that. Oh yeah, well shoot, if you gonna do all that, bro, go and get my car and my tires, bro. Shoot, look out for me. Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? Listen, just to comment any good thing come out of Nazareth, that's how niggas talk. You know what I'm saying? That's how niggas talk. I don't see white folks talking like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't see white folks looking at a group of people when you got all this grade A stuff over here, got a top flight God over here, but you enamored with what they got going on over here, and you want to become that. Like I said, if I look historically, I haven't seen white people look at something and want to become that. I see them want to conquer something and then commandeer that and then spin it to my liking. You know what I'm saying? I've seen Asian people, they got what they got and they kind of stay over there. To be fair, Arab people do the same thing. The only difference is with them is I'm going to come with violence to get you to adopt what I'm on. But they don't necessarily say, I want to do what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? And African people, yeah, they kind of, hey, we do what we do. Pretty much every other group of people is, we do what we do. The exception, Arabs, we do what we do, but we will violently force you to do what we do. And if you look at black people and you look at this book, black people are the only group of people who don't force people to do what it is that they do. Granted, if you take people right now who are professing to be Jewish, they don't force people to do what they do either. They just do what it is that they do. You know what I'm saying? So you have to pay attention to that. It's only two groups of people who use force to get you to do what they do. That's Caucasians and Arabs. They will use force to get you to convert to whatever it is that they got going on. You know what I'm saying? They say, EC say, not meaning to be disrespectful, but hey, sometimes, man, y'all got to be adults and take a step back and assess things and accept them for what they are. Of course, you know, racism, as you would, or bigotry, is a social construct created by men. You know what I'm saying? So that's to keep you in a certain state of emotionality. So if you hear things being broke down in a mature and logical fashion and you revert to emotionality, that's a personal problem. And I can't help you. Nevertheless, I'm just giving an assessment of nuanced conduct of groups of people. Some people don't pay attention to groups of people in this fashion or haven't been around other groups of people to notice the slight variances and nuance of how they conduct themselves. You know what I'm saying? because every group of people does not conduct themselves in the same fashion. Just the same way that every group of people, like I told you, like white people humor is different than black people humor. I'm just using something that's not even that deep. There's a variance of how it's communicated. I'm not talking about comedy specials either. I'm just talking about humor in general. The interaction is different. So this is what I'm basing this on when you read the text. Again, this is if you believe these are real people. Because if you believe these are real people, then you have to pay attention to the nuance of behavior that you see. And then you have to juxtapose that against recorded human history. Now, when it comes to quote unquote Negro people, they kind of distort your history to anything before slavery. You know what I'm saying? And they kind of try to take you and lump you in with whatever group of people they want to lump you in. Now, that in and of itself needs to be a red flag in your brain, because how does everybody else have extensive history? And again, this is not to take the track that, oh, we the children of Israel based off this information. This is what I'm saying. This is for you to just use your brain. If you take a group of people and you say, oh, basically your history don't start till 1619, if you will, you know, the common year, even though people was already here before that. You know what I'm saying? Or being shipped and enslaved before that. But let's just say, you know, the 15th, 14th, 13th, maybe 12th century. They pretty much tell you, don't nobody know where you was at and what you was doing and what you built or what God you worshiped or anything of the sort. Don't nobody know. I'm talking about in the mainstream now. I'm not talking about in there. I'm talking about this mainstream information. Nobody knows. The only thing they can tell you, you was a slave, nigga. Anything before that, they not sure where you was at. So what do they try to do? They try to lump you in with these African people. Well, you know why they try to do that? Because they know in Africa there's a multitude of tribes. They know that. So they know that you're not going to be able to narrow this down, to figure out what tribe you came from. And then you know how they made it spin to get some money off you. Let's come up with DNA testing so you can come over here and try to figure that out so I can get paid off of you trying to figure out who you are and where you come from. Now, that's not to say that DNA testing is faulty or that it's not faulty, because I personally don't give a damn. I'm talking about from the commercial aspect. Commercially, they came up with something to siphon money from you because you're the only group of people who don't know who you are and where you come from and what you've done and what you've been able to accomplish. I can use that to my advantage for the purposes of making money. I say that because other groups of people, they're still, that's if you've been around them, you know that they're still connected to some type of culture. If it's Asians, Vietnamese, Chinese, Japanese, Laos, Taiwan, Hong Kong, I can tie myself to something. Whether it's an Arab, whether he's from Saudi Arabia, from Iran to Iraq to Syria to wherever, they can tie themselves to something. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's an Irishman, a British, a Scottish, a Frenchman, a German, a Russian, they can tie themselves to something. Whether it's a Nigerian, a Kenyan, a South African, a Ghanan, no matter where they come in that continent, they can tie themselves to something. But a nigga, we can't tie you to nothing but Jamestown, Virginia. You know what I'm saying? That's how they kick the game. So I'm just explaining to you why my viewpoint on them church fathers is the way that it is. Based off of that and based off what we can read or what this man was teaching them. Because it says sincerity and truth, right? One of the definitions of in the simplicity was sincerity. So if he's saying, hey, man, in the simplicity, he could have been using, if it's written in Hebrew, he said, hey, man, serve him in tamaim, completely, wholly, with integrity. See, that changes the whole dynamic of what's being communicated. So if you serve him in completeness and wholeness, how can you do that? You have to do that through the Son. Well, how did the Son communicate that information? These are the things that are written in the law of Moses and in the Psalms and in the prophets concerning me. So then you have to look at the men who he taught this information to. Well, what were they teaching? The same exact thing. You weren't sitting around coming up with no Trinitarian doctrine, bro. It wasn't coming up with none of that. Listen, you know what that is? Give me Isaiah 29 if you will, good sir. 29 by photo. Because I just telling Will this same thing, man. What I was telling, I told my old lady this other day, and I was telling Fat Boy this, what I mentioned to y'all last week, right? Like, Me not going to church, not understanding how certain pastors and preachers will come up with their doctrines of what they want people to do and how this influences congregations later on down the line. So you truly don't believe there are any pure blood individuals. I mean, there weren't pure blood individuals back then. You know what I'm saying? To keep it 100% honest with you, a pure-blooded group of people is an anomaly created by white people for an entirely different purpose. Because they ain't never been no pure. Come on, man. Moses was an Israelite that had children with the Ethiopian woman. Joseph was an Israelite. When I say Israelite, because he's from Israel, come from Jacob, literally, who had children with Egyptian women. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that don't mean that's just a. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That doesn't even exist. It's never existed. You know what I'm saying? That's a Caucasian fallacy for white supremacy. You know what I'm talking about? And then a lot of brews get into it and they want to adopt it to make themselves whatever they got going on in their brain. But yeah, man, pure blood race is a white supremacy trope. You know what I'm saying? Such a thing doesn't even exist. Never has existed, never will exist. You know what I'm saying? That junk just wow. You know what I mean? So yeah, and that's even, you know what I'm saying? That's even for you people go to some, in slavery because they ain't got there wasn't no pure blood for the end. You know what I'm saying? Ain't never been such a thing. You know what I'm saying? People just be making up stuff, man. Cut to feed into preconceived biases, if you would. You know what I'm talking about? But nevertheless, what was? Oh yeah, no, yeah, we were reading that thing. But the aspect is right. Okay, you got individuals that come up with, "Hey, I don't want y'all to do woo woo woo." Case in point, textually, right? The tradition of they castigated Yahushua. Why you not eating without washing your hand? That's not a commandment from God. You instituted that, and the people kept it going. Why did the people kept it going? Because the people who taught them came up with that. And now you've adopted this as if this is a commandment of God, when really this was the preference of the preacher. This was the preference of the elder. This was the preference of the pastor, not because this is what the word laid down. Now, I mention that because that's not a new thing in the earth. If it happened during the time of a Mashiach, and of course we finna read it in Isaiah, and it happened, he talking about it through the Ruach of Yahushua HaMashiach, through the Ruach of Elohim, then what do you think is going to go on now? You know what I'm saying? Oh, I want y'all to dress like this, and I want you to do like this. And we that's your preference, man. That's not that's why some people get offended when you be like, well, the book don't speak on that. You know what I'm saying? That's why people get offended, because they want you, because this is church. And I'm only using church because that's what most of our people are familiar in being in. This doesn't mean that this doesn't happen in Jewish synagogues or quote unquote, because there's other Israelite synagogues. That don't mean it doesn't happen in there. But the majority of black folks, that's not their experience. You know what I'm saying? Their experience was in church where the pastor ruled things, depending on the church you was in, because of course every church ain't like that. What you mean with Matthew 28:19? I ain't understanding what you're asking. You know what I'm saying? So again, it's not a blanket statement, but some of y'all are aware of that. Nevertheless, go ahead and read it. This is what? Isaiah 29 what?
4.
Go ahead.
Saying, you shall be brought down and shall speak out of the ground. Your speech shall be low out of the dust, and your voice shall be as of one that hath a familiar spirit out of the ground. Your speech shall whisper out of the dust.
Go ahead.
Moreover, the multitude of your strangers shall be like small dust. The multitude of the terrible ones.
I ain't got you reading. Go ahead.
Shall be as faith that pass away. Yea, it shall be at an instant suddenly. You shall be visited of Yahuwah of hosts with thunder.
Yeah, I got you read. You gotta read all that. Go to verse 9. You can read all that. You can make it 8. Yeah, you can read all that.
He said, it shall even be as when a hungry man dream, and behold, he eat, but he awake, and his soul is empty. Or as when a thirsty man dream, and behold, he drink, but he awake, and behold, he is faint, and his soul have appetite. So shall the multitude of all your nations be that fight against Mount Zion. Stay yourselves and wonder. Cry you out and cry.
I didn't say it was a difficult question. You're asking me something. What do you think about Matthew 28:19? So I'm asking you in regard. Very broad. So I don't know what you're asking, why you're asking it. So that's not a question I'm going to answer when I don't know what you're asking, why you're asking it. That's common. Clarify why you're asking it. then I can be able to answer it. If you desire not to do so, then I desire not to answer. Continue.
To stay yourselves in wonder, cry you out and cry. They are drunken, but not with wine. They staggered, but not with strong drink. For Yahuwah have poured out upon you the rock of deep sleep.
Deep sleep.
And have closed your eyes. The prophets and your rulers, the seers have you covered.
Covered.
And the vision of all has become unto you as the words of a book that is sealed.
Sealed.
Which men deliver to one that is learned, saying, read this, I pray.
He said, I can.
For it is sealed.
What else?
And the book is delivered to him that is not learned, saying,
he said, read this.
I pray you.
He said, I can.
I am not learned.
What else?
Wherefore the Lord said, for as much as this people draw near me with their mouth and with their lips do honor me, but I have removed their heart far from me. Their fear toward me.
Their fear toward me is taught by what?
The precept of men.
The constructions of men. You understand? He said their fear or their Yerah. I know you're not. I'm not being argumentative either. I'm just being direct. You're asking me a question. I'm just directly asking you, what do you mean by what you're asking? I can't expound on a question when I don't know what the question is about and why the question is being asked. You know what I'm saying? It's very broad. Just saying what you think about this verse. What do you mean by that? I don't know what you mean. So you have to be specific. I don't answer broad questions because they can't be answered. You know what I'm saying? If there's 15 different roads to take, I'm not going to ask a question, well, which road you think's the best? What kind of question is that? You know what I'm saying? I would need more information to be able to make a sound, to answer something soundly. If there's not enough information, I can't answer the question. Go ahead. Read me Matthew 15:1.
Then came to Yahushua, scribes and Pharisees, which were of Jerusalem, saying, why do your disciples transgress the tradition of the elders?
See how that transgress the what?
Tradition of the elders.
Give a tradition in the Greek, man.
That is herodosis, a giving up, a giving over, the act of giving up, the surrender of cities, a giving over which is done by word of mouth or in writing, a tradition by instruction, narrative, or precept.
A tradition given by narrative, what?
Instruction, narrative, or precept, etc.
Oh, the Trinity doctrine. I got you. It's not, the Trinity doctrine is not something that you're going to find in the text. You asking that immersed in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Ruach HaKodesh. That's an easy answer because it tells you in Deuteronomy 6:4, Yahuwah Elohim is one. So that's why you don't see the apostles baptizing in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Ruach HaKodesh. You see them immersing in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Why? Because there's three that agree in heaven, the Father, the Word, and the Ruach, and these are one. So there's no need to do all of that. The Trinity doctrine is a construct created by men. It's not something that individuals take and taught. If you're going to read Matthew 28:19, you would need to be able to validate that from the Old Testament first. If you can't go in the Old Testament and validate it, that's just something that somebody pulled out of their rectum and then gave it to others, and people didn't realize it stunk because it came out somebody's butthole. You know what I'm saying? But when you understand what the law says, where it plainly tells you that Yahuwah your Elohim is a God, means it's one. So when you mention the name of the Son, you reference the name of the Father because they're one and the same. There is no separation, because they're united. You know what I'm saying? By the definition of Echad in Deuteronomy 6:4. Then when you take into account what you read in Zechariah 14, and they say that that day Yahuwah Elohim will be what? Say it, one, Echad, united. But see, this is not, when you see united, this is not a oneness type of deal, because all those are doctrines and commandments of men. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly what we're talking about. Those are precepts of men. It's not about what they ignored them to do. You can actually read that's exactly what they did. None of them baptized in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Ruach HaKodesh. They literally all immersed in the name of Yahushua. You can read that. You can see that. So it's not an ignoring. They didn't ignore it. They did exactly what he told them to do. And they baptized in the name of Yahushua, and they accomplished that task of what you read in Matthew 28:19. Those are doctrines of men. I don't participate in the doctrines of men. Somebody want to teach the Trinity, go teach it. I don't give a damn. You know what I'm talking about? I personally don't care. If you want to think it's three different gods, the same God with three different distinct persons, by all means. No, you don't read them doing that anywhere. When you read Philip baptizing the Ethiopian eunuch, he baptized him in the name of Yahushua. When you read Paul saying, have you believed since you've been baptized? They say, man, we know not anything of no baptism about no Ruach HaKodesh. Then he baptized them in the name of Yahushua. When you read 1 Corinthians 1, he say, were any of you baptized in the name of Paul? He say, you were baptized in the name of Yahushua. You can see that completely and entirely throughout the entire Acts of the Apostles and the things that they did. They immersed people in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. You know why? When you immerse them into that, you immerse them into what, Sivit? Yahuwah, salvation. Guess what you've done? Father, Son, Ruach HaKodesh. Easy money. You want to make a doctrine out of that? Shoot, I can't stop you from making it. That don't mean I got to buy it. Continue.
Then you have objectively that which is delivered, the substance of a teaching, or you got the body of precepts, especially rituals, which in the opinion of the later Yahudim were orally delivered by Moses and orally transmitted in unbroken succession.
Now that's good. But notice that it said that those were what? Precepts of men. Mm-hmm. This is exactly what Isaiah is referring to. And our Yerah, or fear or reverence of our God, is being given unto us through the traditions and commandments of men, and not from the oracles of Elohim. There is a difference. No matter how we would, and I'm just using that for an example because he asked about that. No matter how we want to spin it, the Trinity is a doctrine of men. We can try to make it fit in whatever passage you want to make it fit in. That's not something that's laid out. What I mean is not laid out, because that's not a secret that Yahushua HaMashiach taught. That's something that came along later, which in my expert opinion is an interpolation of other people's cultures and intermingling them with the word, because they didn't have the gospel of Yahushua HaMashiach. So they had to make sense of what they was reading because they didn't know. The same way that the eunuch said, hey man, Philip asked him, you know what you read? How can I except there be a man to guide me? And a lot of these men, God ain't something to guide them. So that's how you get that. Yeah, you missing the point. Nevertheless, come on back to because I'm not finna get in no Trinity conversation. I would rather eat dog doodle off the ground than to get in a conversation about the Trinity, and I mean that sincerely. Read me Psalm 32. No disrespect to you. I don't care nothing about that. I don't participate in Godhead theological conversations because in reality, nobody in the real world cares. Psalm 32.
Baruch is he whose transgression is forgiven, whose sin is covered. Baruch is the man unto whom Yahuwah impute not iniquity, and whose ruach there is no God.
No God.
When I kept silence, my bones like souls.
That's good. Now and I'm reading that because I think we read it last week though, but it's in pertaining to what happened with the thief. You know what I'm saying? See, Reverend, that read Matthew 28 for him, man. Read it out loud for the people who don't know what to say right there. When they want to know what the hell is he talking about. Just read it for him.
Say, go you therefore and teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Abba and of the Son.
Hold on, back it up to 16. Make it all the way live.
So then the 11 disciples went away into Galilee, into a mountain where Yahushua had appointed them.
And when they saw him, what they did?
They worshipped him, but some doubted.
And Yahushua came and spake what?
Saying, all power is given unto me in Shamahim and in earth.
Now we already know that. Now, this is the difference of what we seen with Moses. Was he given all power in heaven? Nah, but he was given all power in the earth though. But let's continue.
Say, go you therefore and teach all nations.
Do what?
Baptizing them in the name of the Abba and of the Son and of the Ruach HaKodesh.
And what else?
Teaching them to observe all things, whatsoever I have commanded you. And lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. We reference certain things, right? So that means we got to read it off the paper, right? So when we read this off the paper, he said, immersing them in the name of the Father, Son, Ruach HaKodesh. Do me a favor. Read him Deuteronomy 6 and 4. Just read it off the paper. Now, when we read this Psalm 32 and 1, when the thief, he said, blessed is him whose iniquity is forgiven. So when you see him say, oh, today you're going to be with me in the garden, always remember that it tells you that Yahuwah speak the things that are not as if they are. And sometimes we don't be thinking about that because we be looking at he's using present day verbiage. And it didn't happen. So we like, okay, it can't be that because we can only understand it from that construct.
But he speaks the things that are, even though they ain't happened yet. Because we don't have that power to be able to do that per se. You know what I'm saying? You can't say something gonna happen and it's gonna be like that before it happens. He can do that though. Remember what he told you. I tell you things before they come to pass, so when they come to pass, you know that I am he. See, we don't have the ability to do that. You know what I'm talking about? But keep on rolling.
Say Hero Yasharal, Yahuwah our Elohim is one Yahuwah.
He's one what?
One Yahuwah.
Go on, hit him what that one mean, man. Hit him with the one, man. Tell him what that means. That's one.
One.
Come on, give him Zechariah 14, man. Make it plain, man, so the people he that run can read when he read it, man. You know what I'm talking about? Go ahead and give me what Zechariah 14, man. Where's that, man? Verse 9. Make it do what it do.
And Yahuwah shall be king over all the earth, and that day shall there be one Yahuwah.
Shall be. Now, how could there be one Yahuwah if it ain't but one in the first place? You did? But remember, what is Zechariah 14 referring to? It's referring to Yahuwah coming back. But we know that what's described to Yahuwah coming back is ascribed to who? Yahushua HaMashiach. So give him that one right there, man.
Same thing. Okay.
Now go to give me what it is, Ephesians 4 and 4. Very, very easy thing to do, man. It's not even that difficult.
One body, one ruach, even as you're called, and one hope of your calling.
Oh my.
One Lord, one faith, one baptism.
Oh my God.
One Elohim and Father of all, who is above all,
and what?
All, and in you all.
And you all. Now, do me a favor. Come over here to 1 Corinthians 1. Read me verse 12. After that, go to Acts 19. Now watch how we're going to swing this back in here to the prophet like under Moses. They don't think we're going to be able to do it. Man, Lord willing, we're going to make it clean. Right off the paper.
Say now this I say, that every one of you saith, I am of Paul, I am of Apollos, and of Cephas, and I of Mashiach. Is Mashiach divided? Was Paul crucified for you? Or were you baptized in the name of Paul?
So if you ain't baptized in the name of Paul, who would you be named you be baptized in, Sid?
Mashiach.
Okay, Acts 19 and 1 then.
And it came to pass that while Apollos was at Corinth, Paul, having passed through the upper coast, came to Ephesus, and finding certain disciples, he said unto them, have you received the Ruach HaKodesh
since you
believed? And they said unto him,
we have not so much
as heard whether there be any Ruach.
He said unto them,
unto what then were you baptized?
They said,
unto John's baptism.
Then said Paul,
John truly baptized with the baptism of repentance,
saying
unto the people
that they should what?
Believe on him which should come after him.
And that is
Mashiach Yahushua.
And what happened when they heard that?
They heard this, they were baptized in the name of the Lord Yahushua.
They were baptized in the name of who?
Of the Lord Yahushua.
The Father, the Son, and the Spirit.
In the name of the Lord Yahushua.
Okay, come over here to Acts chapter 8 then. Read verse 36 then.
And as they went on their way, they came unto a certain water, and the eunuch said, see, here is water. What do hinder me to be baptized? Philip said, if you believe with all your heart, you may.
You may.
He said, I believe that Yahushua HaMashiach is the son of Elohim.
So, do me another favor. You see, I asked, would you be baptized according to Matthew 28:19? For what? Why would you do that? Hey, you're missing the point. Go back to Luke 23. I ain't gonna do that no more. Luke 23 and 43. Read it again.
And Yahushua said unto him, truly I say unto you, today shall you be with me in paradise.
So again, we're looking at that paradise, which is a garden. Now read what that was, Isaiah 51 and 3. Let me find that verse. It's in Romans. Or what I'm referencing. Before you read Isaiah 51 and 3, let me read you this verse in Romans 4. So this is the verse I was referencing in Romans 4. This is Romans 4 and 13. For the promise that he should be the heir of the world was not to Abraham or to his seed through the law, but through the righteousness of faith. For if they which were of the law be heirs, faith is made void, and the promise made of none effect, because the law worked wrath. Where there's no law, where no law is, there's no transgression. Therefore, it is of faith that it might be by grace, to the end promise might be sure to all the seed, not to that only which is of the law, but to that also which is of faith of Abraham, who is the father of us all. As it is written, I have made you a father of many nations, before him whom he believed, even Elohim, who quickened the dead, and called those things which be not as though they were. You know what I'm talking about? So when you look at him, right, saying, hey, man, today you're going to be with me in paradise. He's calling those things which are not as if it happened. And he has the ability and power to do that. Let me just reference the other spot that I mentioned, right? And it's John 13. I think we read it the other day. I don't even know if I still got that page in my book, man. Or I might be in the wrong spot. It might be John 14. Tell me what John 14, 34 says, or 33, something like that.
14 and 33.
Yeah.
14 only got 31 verses.
He said, did you know they knew Jesus was the Son and has a Father anew? Oh, yeah, see, being baptized, you don't get baptized into the Spirit. You dig? You get baptized and receive the Spirit. The Spirit is the gift, but you don't get baptized into the Spirit, because you can be baptized and not receive the Spirit. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, but mention, right? He said, hey, I tell you those things that happen before they happen, so when they come to pass, you know that I am he. He told you the same thing in Isaiah 46. Let me find one. Now, too, man, you ain't got to come in here anonymously to cop work, man. You ain't got to put your mask on, man. You don't want nobody to know you copping work, man. You just come and cop.
Okay, I think it's 14 and 29.
Go ahead. Just come and cop, man. You know what I'm saying? It's dog free. You ain't got to pay for it.
He said, and now I have told you before it come to pass.
That when it come to pass,
you might believe. Hereafter I will not talk much with you, for the prince of this world come.
No, see, and that's the aspect. And sometimes, again, you know, from a human point of reference. That's why I say that's valid when he mentioned that. You looking at he's saying today, but we're not looking at it from what the text say. You from Elohim point of view. I can tell you, like, yeah, even though this ain't happened yet. Why? Because Elohim was not a man that he should lie, nor the son of Adam that he should repent. If he said it, then he gonna do it. So it's exactly in that framework. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes that be outside of us looking at it from the perspective of God, because we be looking at it from the perspective of man, which is fair because, you know why I say it? We're men. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, Deuteronomy 18 and 15 on general principle. I know we read it in a couple other places, but that's okay. My main premise, what I had in my brain, I don't forgot. Oh, that was the veil with the blood. But we'll get to that in a minute.
And tell you, who your Elohim will raise up unto you a prophet from the midst of you, of your brethren,
like
unto
brother.
me. Unto him you shall hearken, according to all that you desire of Yahuwah your Elohim in Horeb, in the day of the assembly, saying, let me not hear again the voice of Yahuwah my Elohim, neither let me see this great fire anymore,
Don't let me
die
see
not. Yahuwah said unto me,
What he said?
They have well spoken that which they have spoken. I'll raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto you, and will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. It shall come to pass that whosoever will not hearken unto my words, which he shall speak in my name, I will require it of him.
He's going to require your blood. Now, I mentioned this earlier. We read it in Isaiah. He read it in Matthew, which was mentioning what's in Isaiah about the doctrines being the commandments of men. Nigga, it said the fear. You know what I'm saying? In Hebrew, it's going to be the yireh, the fear, the reverence, the awe. It don't really be what God say. It be what men say. You know what I'm saying? And that's why we reference that about what it says, some of the doctrines that the church fathers mentioned there. It just mentioned the Trinity in the short bio with each one of those men. So that's why that was mentioned out loud. Nevertheless, when you look at Yahushua resurrecting from the dead, we know what he taught them. You know what I'm saying? We see Paul doing it. Now, when you take a step back and you pay attention, all these men giving you this man's testimony in the law of Moses and in the Psalms and in the prophets of things concerning him. Because if not, how can these people claim to be that they're the direct students of the apostles and they're not even preaching and teaching what the apostles were given? That's something you have to pay attention to. Now, see, that's a dangerous thing. They said the truth is to get baptized and we can work other things out later. If you ain't even heard the gospel, what were you even baptized into? See, he didn't catch that when we were reading that in Acts 8, when the Ethiopian eunuch said, hey man, woo, woo, woo. And he said, and starting that out, what we now commonly call Isaiah 53, he preached Yahushua to him. Philip was one of them people there in Luke chapter 24 when he said, and these are the things written in the law of Moses and in the Psalms and in the prophets concerning me. So when this man said, there's water right here, what stopped me from getting baptized? He said nothing. If you believe Yahushua is the son of Elohim, how can you even get baptized if you don't even believe this man the son of Elohim? And you can't say you believe he the son of Elohim. You can't say that if he ain't never even been preached to you. And how do we know that's it? You know we're going to have to read Romans 10 and 14. Yeah, I mean, yeah, getting immersed in the name of the Son of God. I ain't want to trip. I don't immerse nobody in the name of Jesus, but I'm not going to castigate somebody who do, because I'm not that highly invested in that. And what I mean by that, I'm not highly invested in the things that other people do. And you know where that come from? Because Civic notice here, hey man, if they not against us, then they for us. That's what the man said. You know what I'm saying? So men look for things to be at odds with other people about. He says Jesus and not Yahushua. I'm not one of them people. You know what I'm saying? I'm not one of them people. Oh, well, we believe we can eat anything, all things clean. That's your business. I'm going to show you why we don't hold to that perspective. Other than that, yeah, it's not that serious for me. I don't look at you and be like, look at this wicked nigga eating a pork chop. You know what I'm saying? I'm not that invested. A lot of people be overly invested on what other people teach and preach. That's not my business. You know what I'm saying? It's not my business until he says it's my business. Outside of that, I don't be paying attention and scoping to what other people serving. Because when you're doing that, you ain't focusing on what you got to cook and who you got to serve and how you got to serve it. You know what I'm saying? When you pay attention to these men in this book, they weren't focused on what other people were doing unless they came across their path and they had to be focused upon it. I'm talking about going out your way. See, in this particular day and age, people go out their way to monitor and see what other people are teaching so that they can debate and argue and fuss about what they're teaching, which tells me that they're not participating in any service to anyone. Because anyone who is in service to others is not concerned with what other people are doing. They're concerned about how they can be of service to who they have to serve. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it is. Now, you can put people up on game on what to pay attention to and what to be aware of. Like Yahushua told them, beware of the leaven of the scribes and the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. You know, hey, these people move like this. I'm giving you the game. You get caught down bad. Now that's on you. You know what I'm saying? Outside of that, yeah, I'm cool, G. You know what I'm saying? And that'd be hard for people to understand because they feel like we support. Nah, bro. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, that's a given. But it's not just to serve the weak and the homeless and the downtrodden. It's to serve those who are committed to your responsibility if disseminating the word is what you do. You know what I'm saying? See, there's a service that pertains to an individual, and there's a service that pertains to those who work in this man's body. You know what I'm saying? So there's a difference, because you could serve the poor, the downtrodden, and the weak and still be a wicked bastard. Because some people do that stuff just strictly for show and to be seen. And see, I'm godly, but the whole time, that's a lustful demon of all manner of folly. You know what I'm saying? But I'm also talking about people who disseminate the word. And you disseminate the word, that's a service because it's a job. Disseminating the word is no different than the dude who's serving you food at McDonald's, serving you food at your favorite restaurant. That's why he say, man, who's greater, him that sit at meat or him that serve? He said, him that sit at meat. He said, I'm amongst you as him that serve. You did? So that's what I mean by that. You know what I'm saying? It's not that deep. Let's say people just take the preacher's job and make it authoritative over people's lives because that's what individuals desire to do. But that's not what the job is about. And that'd be hard for people to fathom. That's why I mentioned that while we read the Isaiah, because what I'm telling you, like, you know, the doctrines and precepts and commandments of men is not a new thing. That's always been going down. You know what I'm saying? That's always been going down. I want y'all to do this like this because this is how I want you to worship God because that's right in my eyes. But in reality, this is how this individual can maintain control over the people who he's supposed to be serving. This is not a singular Christian endeavor. This goes on both sides of the ledger that a lot of brews don't like to acknowledge and admit, to be 100% honest with you. You for sure. You know what I'm saying? I say that because dudes don't be wanting to believe. Like I say, I can only use myself as an example. Like y'all know, I'm not finna rule over y'all, and I'm not finna be personally integrated in your life. What I mean by that, I'm not trying to tell you who you can marry and when you can get married. I'm not trying to tell you where you can work, and I'm not trying to tell you none of that. You can ask my opinion, I'll give it to you. If you don't ask my opinion, I'm not going to force it on you. You know what I'm saying? Because if you desire to get counsel on whatever it is you were doing, you would ask. You didn't ask, that means you have to believe that you have the mental, spiritual, and emotional fortitude to handle that yourself, and that's fine. I don't take no offense to that. You know what I'm saying? That don't bother me in the least bit. Nevertheless, you know what I'm saying? Like I told you before, when we were rapping with a brother, like come up with a universal form of courting. I'm not coming up with no form of courting for none of y'all because y'all grown. Most of y'all got churned. Yeah, we could do that for the children, but nobody wants to do that for the children because you really want to try to clean up messes and save face for big, grown, rusty people who don't fear and love God in the first place, instead of wanting to implement this stuff for the youth because you don't really care about them. You care about putting on a show on the internet and for other people, like, look at what we doing. We got something going on. Meanwhile, you ain't going to chaperone them babies. I'm not chaperoning no 36-year-old man. No 40-year-old woman. These niggas got cars, bro. So when you leave from the spot, what's to stop him from driving over there to her house? These niggas, because with a child, and he put this in, with a child, they live with their parents. You know what I'm saying? So they can't double back. So after that chaperoning, guess what? There's still someone that this child has to be accountable to because they live with them. They got to answer to them. Ain't no 35. Who a 35-year-old man or woman got to answer to? In the flesh, I mean. You think they finna answer to me? Oh, why you ain't come in till 11:30? Man, I'm not doing all that, bro. You know the fear God. You either gonna fear him or you not. You know you supposed to love God. You either gonna love him or you not. You know to obey God. You either gonna obey him or you not. I give you the word. You grown. You don't have to handle that. I'm not doing that, man. What I look like chaperoning two adults who ain't virgins? What am I chaperoning them from? You think you're going to stop these people from sinning if they want to sin? They're going to do it. And then guess what? Even with that, because some of y'all already know that, even if these grown people went to hunching, see, you know what I'm going to tell y'all need to get married to stop hunching. And if you don't want to get married, then guess what? That word going to chop you and dice you. I ain't got to throw you nowhere. You're going to throw yourself somewhere. Because you ain't going to want to keep hearing that. I'm not going to be all, listen, we ain't condoning, but you know what you're going to have to do, man. And if you know you don't like that woman like that, why you having sex with her anyway? Because that should even be on your brain, even without the word, man. I'm talking about, boy, if you know you couldn't see that woman as your wife and the mother of your children, what you having raw sex with her for and ejaculating in her for? What you doing that for? You got to be stupid. You know what I'm saying? That's what you're supposed to tell your son. Well, if you wouldn't see her as a mother, as a wife, why would you make her the mother of your children? Boy, that's butt booty hole backwards, boy. And you wonder why your life miserable. You complain about that woman, but you never seen the wife in her. So you thought, let's take it up a notch and make her a mother. Come on, man. That's retarded, bro. That's retarded. You know what I'm saying? But you want to give this game to people who should have already learned that. Give that to the children who ain't. But see, you know why you don't want to do that? I told y'all this before. Because you don't want to let your children, you don't want to look your children in the face and tell them about the awful decisions that you done made. Or maybe you used to be a hoe. And you don't want your son and daughter to know you used to be a hoe. When I say that, I ain't talking about just no woman. I'm talking about both. You don't want to know them that you were reckless sexually. You didn't want them to know that you didn't make the best decisions, period. Because you scared about how they going to look at you instead of saying, hey, man, I done already went through this, so you ain't have to. So I'm going to give you the raw, unadulterated truth from my point of view so you don't go down that road. Because you don't want to tell them the truth. Because you niggas want to cosplay as an Israelite on Saturdays, man, and be a nigga Sunday through Friday. You know what I'm saying? And that's the worst part. That's the thing that irritates me the most. He ain't a real Israelite. Nigga, what does that even mean? What does that even mean, my nigga? He pretending to be an Israelite. But y'all quick to scream, it's a bloodline. So he can't pretend to be one if this is a bloodline, dummy. That junk irritates me, bro. You know what I'm saying? Golly, man, what we reading, man?
Romans 10:14.
Run that, man.
Said, how then shall they call on him in whom they have not believed? How shall they believe in him in whom they have not heard? And how shall they hear without a preacher? And how shall they preach except they be sent?
So there's no way anybody could believe to get baptized if the word had never been preached to them. So I'm one to end my bloodline growing up in a broken home. Now, I understand. I'm so more so just talking about, you know what I'm saying, in totality, man, of some of the things that's espoused. Not necessarily anything like lasers, you know what I'm saying, specific. You feel me? Because that junk be wild to me. You feel me? Like, come on, man. You talking about adults here, bro. It's not many 6, 7, 8-year-old kids coming in the word on their own. They coming in the word because their parents bringing them in. It ain't too many 16, 17, 18-year-old kids coming in the word on their own. If they coming in because their parents bringing them in. So most of the people who coming in this, man, you coming in your early 20s, maybe, late 20s, 30s, 40s. But you want somebody to treat you like you a child. This is something that I've noticed since I've been in the word, that a lot of people don't want to be treated as adults. You know what I'm saying? You don't want the person teaching you the word to treat you like a grown man, treat you like a grown woman. You want that man to replace your daddy or to be the daddy that you didn't have. Instead of somebody giving you the tools to be the man or woman that God desires you to be. So when you see, you mean to tell me that you believe that I have the autonomy on my own to fear, love, trust, and serve God? They think it's something wrong with him. No, you just fear having the power to be able to rule over yourself. So you want somebody else to rule over you. See, you're doing the same thing that they did during the time of Saul. You had a king. You had God to rule over you. You wanted a man to do it. See, it's no different now. You got God to rule over you. You want a man to do it. You know what I'm talking about? You want a man to tell you what to do and when to do, instead of somebody giving you the word and you lay the word up in your heart and the word tell you what to do and when to do it. Oh my God, today. You know what I'm talking about? They don't want that's it. Let me say your mom did tell you about God until 6 months before she passed. Your dad always did not. Hey, no, I understand. Shoot, my people ain't telling me nothing about no word. But I just want y'all to sit there and ponder on that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a lot of people, man. You want that man to be to tell me what to do and how to do it. Rule over me. Make decisions for me. I ain't doing it. You know what I'm talking about? I'm telling you right now, I ain't doing it. Because that's the type of stuff, unless you power hungry, that's the type of stuff puts you in the grave. You know what I'm saying? That's too much. I'm not doing all that. Not for no grown people. You grown. You know what I'm saying? I don't care about the people. So you ain't grown. Man, if you over the age of 25, you are trending toward being grown. You know what I'm talking about? Once you hit 30, well, you over a decade away from graduating from high school. You're almost at half your life expectancy. You know what I'm talking about? Well, you grown, boy. I think sometimes y'all don't realize, boy, you ain't got as long on this earth as you think you do. You know what I'm saying? Book tell you 70, 80 if you're strong. The life expectancy for most black men is like 63, 64. You know what I'm saying? Like, how long you think you finna be here? That time go by fast, man. I just was talking about it the other day, but listen. We talking about 1995, bro. I was 15 years old in 1995. Do you really think I could see 31 years down the line, man? In 1995, man, I couldn't fathom being 46 years old, bro. And it's not that we live in a life like, oh, I think I'm gonna get killed. You know what I'm saying? But man, I couldn't fathom 30 years down the line, man. Well, them 30 years went by like that, boy. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about like that. You talking about let's just 96 around. You talking about 1996, man, I'm 16 years old. I'm in the 10th grade. I'm in 11th grade because I graduated when I was 17. I'm in 11th grade. 10 years after that, 1996, boy, I was in prison, boy. 10 years after that, I had done been in the Word for 7 years. Now, just imagine that I'm saying in a 20-year period, I done been in the Word for 7 years. 10 years after that, I'm married with children. 3 segments of life. Boom, boom, boom. 30 years gone. Just like that. Just like that. And you sitting around here thinking like, oh, man, before you know it, you're going to be like, dang, boy. Let's see. My son was born in 1991. So in 2006, she's 15 years old, right? So that means 20 years don't went past, she's 35. So then that means in another 10 some odd years, she'll be looking like, well, them 30 years went by fast. I remember in 2006, I was in high school. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Boom. And you around here playing games. You know what I'm talking about? Like you just like this here, man, that time rolled, boy. That time rolled, boy. That time rolled, boy. And the only reason it's in our brain, because I told you, Bigger Ring is past, and then you go to looking at them Cool Runners tape, and then you go to realizing, well, I remember I was 15, 16, 17, 18. Well, we played Cool Runners tapes every day. All day till the tape pop. You know what I'm saying? Niggas ain't had no CDs like that back then. We talking about cassette tapes, you understand me? Taking the blank tape and your homeboy tape and dubbing it on this tape. Well, that was 30 years ago, boy. And like I said, man, you sitting back at 15, 16, 17, man, you can't even fathom you're going to be 45 years old one day. Until you are. And then you know what you realize? Damn, I ain't got much time left. But you know what you tell yourself? 50 ain't old. Well, you finna die. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't even saying that to be funny, boy. You finna get ready to die soon, boy. Time running out. You ain't got no time to be playing, man. Go ahead, Zimbo.
Go Romans 10.
Mm-hmm. Give me Isaiah 33 and 22. Matter of fact, before you do that, go to Deuteronomy 33. Listen, man, I got a whole lot of friends, man. They ain't here no more, man. 33 and 1. Come on with it.
This is the blessing wherewith Moses, the man of Elohim, broke the children of Yasharah before his death. And he said, Yahuwah came from Sinai and rose up from Seir unto them, and shined forth from Mount Paran, and he came with 10,000s of saints from his right hand when a fiery law for them.
Go ahead.
He loved the people. All the saints
that's
are
a fact, man.
And they sat down at your feet. Everyone shall receive of your words.
And he was what?
Moses commanded us a law, even the inheritance of the congregation of Jacob.
Mm-hmm.
He was king in Yasharon, when the heads of the people and the tribes of Yasharon were gathered together.
He said he was what?
He was king in Yasharon.
So it's 3 things that Moses was. It just said he was a king, right? What's the other 2?
He was a prophet.
That's fair. That ain't what I'm looking for. But he was a prophet.
A lawgiver.
Lawgiver is number 2. It's one more. He was a king and a lawgiver, and he was one more thing. Anybody got an idea? King, lawgiver, and one more thing. Not a Messiah per se. He mentioned prophet, but that's not it. I mean, I'm saying that's not it because he was though. He wasn't in a because you don't read Moses being anointed with oil. So by strict definition, he couldn't be a Messiah because he wasn't anointed with oil. But it's one more thing.
A man of Elohim.
No. No, not leader. But one more thing. You got king, lawgiver, and one more thing. Ain't nobody on YouTube participate. What's going on, man? They can't get to their phone, man. Or they looking at it on the TV saying answer. There it is, a judge. Isaiah 33 and 22. He was a Levite, but that wasn't what we was aiming for. Isaiah 33 and 22. And he was an intercessor, but that wasn't what we were aiming towards. Because we dealt with the intercessor part, well, somewhat on Wednesday, but not in depth. But this, I was aiming towards this because of Isaiah 33 and 22. Come on.
Say, for Yahuwah is our judge,
And our
lawgiver,
and our
king,
and
he will save us.
so boom.
See, I was gonna say a little bit. That's
Moses did all of those things. He was a king, he was a lawgiver, he was a judge, and he saved them. You know what I'm talking about? So this is the other aspect. I was going to start that Wednesday, but we didn't do it. This is the other aspect of showing how he's a prophet like unto Moses. Because Moses was a king, a judge, and a lawgiver. Now I want you to go back to Deuteronomy 33 and 5. Just read the definition of king from that particular passage. I know y'all know the word. That's not the point.
got Malak, you just got king or king royal.
King or king royal. What does that mean? What do kings do? They rule. So at that particular juncture, even though Aaron was the high priest, Moses was over him. How do we know this? Numbers 27 and 14. Because remember, what did we read? He said, who made you a what? Ruler and judge over me. And we're going to read that passage.
For you rebelled against my commandment in the desert of Zin and the strife of the congregation to sanctify me at the water before their eyes. That is the water of Meribah and Kadesh in the wilderness of Zin. And Moses spake unto Yahuwah, saying, let Yahuwah, the Elohim of the Ruachs of all flesh, set a man over the congregation, which may go out before them, which may go in before them, which may lead them out, and which may bring them in.
Give him set a man over.
To set is pakad, that is to attend to muster, to number, to reckon, to visit, punish, to appoint, to look after, to care for.
To look after or to care for. This is his job. Come over here to Exodus 2 and 13. Listen what it say.
And when he went out the second day, behold, 2 men of the Abarim strove together, and he said to him that did the wrong, wherefore smite you your fellow? And he said, who have made you a prince and a judge over us?
Made you a what?
A prince and a judge over us.
What else?
Intend you to kill me as you killed the Egyptians?
He said this thing is what?
Moses feared it, said, surely this thing is known.
Now give him judge by definition first before we do prince.
And judge is shafat, to judge, govern, vindicate, punish.
So in this one here, this is the judge or the governor. So I just need you to understand that. This is the judge or the governor. What's the other thing you said last one?
It said to act as a lawgiver.
As an act as a what?
As a lawgiver.
Now keep that in point. Now give him Sar. Give him prince.
A Sar, a prince, a ruler, a leader, a chief, a chieftain, an official, a captain.
A chief or a ruler. You know what I'm saying? Now we read earlier, it called Yahushua the Prince of Life. You know what I'm talking about? Then it's also as a lawgiver. Now go back to Isaiah 33 and 22 and give him the definition of king, judge, and what's the other? And lawgiver, which y'all should know lawgiver because it's in Genesis 49.
King is Malak again.
So you know that. You got to go through that. You already know him. It's going to be a repeat. It's okay.
And judge is shafat.
Go ahead and give him lawgiver. Kaka.
To cut out, to decree, to inscribe, to set, to engrave, to portray, to govern.
Yes, that's correct. That's what Moses was placed in there. So I'm mentioning all these things, right? So now this is what we can do. Where would you point to scripturally to show forth that Yahushua was a king? I'm not talking about just saying, oh, he was a king. Where are you going to go to? When I say scripture, I'm talking about Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Where are you going to go to show forth that he is a king? And I'm gonna tell you right now, don't use that they wrote he the king of the Jews when he got crucified, because that's getting rejected on demand. Don't go there. That's piss poor. That's piss poor usage. Don't use that.
You was gonna say that.
Yeah, don't use that.
That's the cop.
That's a cop. No, don't use that. Don't use the crown of thorns either. Because if you're a king, that means you got rule. So you're going to have to show, how does he have rule? Matthew 21:5. 21:1, I'm sorry. Stanley got Matthew 21:1-5. Matthew chapter 21 and verse 1.
And when they drew near unto Jerusalem, they come out of Bethphage unto the Mount of Olives. Then sent Yahushua 2 disciples, saying unto them, go into the village over against you. Straightway you shall find an ass tied and a colt with her loosened, and bring them unto me. And if any man say aught unto you, you shall say, the Lord hath need of them. Straightway he will send them. All this was done that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the prophet, saying, tell you the daughter of Sion, behold, your king come unto you meek, and sitting upon an ass, and a colt the foal of an ass.
That's good. Now, I knew that somebody was going to pick that. And that's fair. And the only reason it was in my brain, because my dog, Brandon, had just hit me up like, where do we find a verse other than Zechariah with him riding in on a donkey? You know what I'm saying? So you know that one in Esther, you know what I'm saying? Y'all know that. You know what I'm saying? With, you know, the man who the king seeketh to honor, and they put put Mordecai, and did the same thing to him. You know what I'm talking about? Some of y'all might not know what I'm talking about. I'm sorry. Esther chapter 6, man. Read verse 5.
Matthew 2.
No, because again, right, and these are fair, because what Stanley's mentioning is, and then just mentioned John 18, and we're gonna read that in a moment. That's the, like, for lack of a better term, like the ceremonial outward display that he's a king. It's fair based off what I asked, because I wasn't, you know what I'm saying, pinpoint specific on, you know what I'm talking about? So I'm not mad at those answers. That's fair based on what I asked. You know what I'm saying? But I did mention this later. Actually show an example showing him to be a ruler. You know what I'm saying? Now, this is where I want you to get into nuanced conduct. You feel me? To show that he is a ruler. Where do you see examples of showing him like this man is a ruler? He's governing. You understand what I'm saying? So like I said, based off what I asked, those responses for both of them are fair. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I knew that the Matthew 21, because that's the first one gonna come to mind, because you hear them say, like say, Hosanna in the highest, you sit him on there, he's a king, that's a given. I know your mind gonna go to that automatically, because that's a layup. You know what I'm talking about? That's why I added that later and not just try to turn that away. I want y'all to look at, where do you see him being a ruler? Where do you see him governing? And it can be in aspects of places that you wouldn't even think. I'll give you an example. When that man told the winds to be still, they say even the wind and the water obey him, meaning got rule over it. Because we see how I'm gonna see this is the harken back like they do on a comedy special. He said, I've been given all power in heaven and in earth. You know what I'm saying? Because what do kings have? They have power to rule. He ruled over the elements. He mentioned Matthew 7:28. We'll grab that in a minute. But what I asked you to read,
Esther?
Yeah, read 6 and 5. Tell me what Esther.
And the king's servant said unto him, behold, Haman stayed in the court. And the king said, let him come in. So Haman came in, and the king said unto him, what shall be done to the man whom the king delight to honor? Now Haman thought in his heart, to whom would the king delight to do honor more than to myself? Haman answered the king, for the man whom the king delight to honor. Let the royal apparel be brought, which the king used to wear, and the horse that the king rides upon, and the crown royal which is set upon his head.
That's right.
Let this apparel and horse be delivered to the hand of one of the king's most noble princes, that they may array the man withal, whom the king delights to honor, and bring him on horseback.
Bring him on what back?
Bring him on horseback.
What else?
To the street of the city, proclaim before him. Thus shall it be done to the man whom the king delights to honor. And the king said to Haman, make haste, take the apparel and the horse,
and put it on who?
Says, and do even so to Mordecai, the Yahudin.
Now again, that pertains to yeah, you can. Because again, we're looking at a king. So a king is ruler. So I want you to manage, and it's not just ruling over men. Because remember, he said he had all power in heaven and earth. I mentioned that for the harken back because I wasn't laser specific on that. Because I really want you to pay attention to the nuance. Because when you look at Moses, Moses had power to rule and govern over the people. Now that's what the Matthew 7 and 28, that's standard reference. But I want you to read John 18:36 that Dan mentioned, man. We'll read that real quick. John 18:36.
I shall answer, my kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, then will my servants fight. Then I should not be delivered to the Yahudim, but now is my kingdom not from hence.
And again, that answer is fair also because it's an outward show of he's a ruler. But in this instance, again, and this one is here, because I asked the question for the purposes of adding on to it, because like I said, I didn't really say in the beginning on that, so that's fair. You know what I'm saying? Examples of him actually ruling, actually governing. You know what I'm saying? Do me a favor, say, go to Mark chapter 4, right? I was already on the page. Go to Mark 4, right? Verse 35. This is an example of what I'm talking about. Was it during the war when they held his hands up to win? Now that's what Yahushua, son of Nun, did to Moses. And we could look at that as that's him being a judge because he was vindicating or rendering judgment on Amalek. You know what I'm saying? Now, in that instance with the Lord, that one there going to be a little tight one. But yet a fun one nonetheless. We're going to work our way to that. Go ahead.
With many such parables spake he the word unto them as they were able to hear it. But without a parable spake he not unto them. When they were alone, he expounded all things.
I told you, John, or did I say Mark?
It's Mark 4. Looking for when he stilled the winds.
Yeah, that's verse 35, man.
It's saying the same day when the evening was come, he said,
you read 34.
Let us come over, let us pass over onto the other side. When they had sent away the multitude, they took him even as he was in the ship, and there was also with him other little ships. And there arose a great storm of wind. The waves beat into the ship so that it was now full. He was in the hinder part of the ship, asleep on a pillow, and they awake him and said unto him, Master, care you not that we perish? And he arose and rebuked the wind, and he said unto
He did what to the wind?
Rebuked the wind.
What else?
Said unto the sea, Shalom, be still.
What else?
The wind ceased, and it was a great calm.
It was a great calm. Now check this out. Psalms 89 and 6, and you can get the scriptural essence. We're going to keep reading back at Mark 4, but just see where it comes from. Psalms 89 and 6.
For who in Shamahim can be compared unto Yahuwah? Who among the sons of the mighty can be likened unto Yahuwah? Elohim is greatly to be feared in the assembly of the saints, and to be had in reverence of all them that are about him. O Yahuwah Elohim of hosts, who is a strong Yahuwah like unto you, or to your faithfulness round about you? You rule the raging of the sea.
You rule the what?
The raging of the sea.
My God.
When the waves thereof arise, you still them.
Stop. Give him rule there.
This is Mashal.
I already knew it was going to be Mashal. What that mean to do?
Rule, to have dominion, to reign.
If you reign and have dominion, guess what that make you? A king. So this is what I'm showing you, referring to like the nuance of him being a king. And that's why I brought back to mind when they said that he had power in heaven and earth in Matthew 28 and 19 or 18. That this is just not limited to ruling over men. You understand? Go back to Mark chapter 4, man, verse 40. Then we'll read Matthew 7 and 28, man. And see if anybody got anything else they want to add.
And he said unto them, why are you so fearful? How is it that you have no faith? They feared exceedingly and said one to another, what manner of man is this, that even the wind and the sea obey him?
And who do kings are obeyed? You know what I'm talking about? So this is a manner of him showing forth having rule. Now listen, go to John 13, right? Oh, I said Matthew 7:28, my bad. Now, what this one here is that the people perceived that he had rule based on how he spoke. Go ahead.
And it came to pass when Yahushua had ended these sayings, the people were astonished at his doctrine, for he taught them as one having authority and not as the scribes.
Tell them what authority be right there, man.
Exousia, this is power of choice, liberty of doing as one pleases.
Doing as one pleases. A king does as they please. So this is how they're perceiving how he's speaking. Now, let's show another aspect that he had rule. Go to Mark chapter 12, verse 1, because we were just having this conversation the other day. This is another aspect of showing you that he had rule.
And he began to speak unto them by parables. A certain man planted a vineyard and set an hedge about it, and digged a place for the
Or
wine
12 and
pen.
5. I don't need all that.
And again he sent another, and him they killed, and many others beating
That
some.
don't sound right at all. I don't know what you read, because Matthew 12 and 1 definitely don't say none of that. I knew I wasn't tripping. What you just read?
Said Mark 12 and 5.
No, I said Matthew 12 and 1.
He said, at that time, Yahushua went on the Shabbat day through the corn, and his disciples were hungry, and began to pluck the ears of corn and to eat. But when the Pharisees saw it, they said unto him, behold, your disciples do that which is not lawful to do upon
And he
the
said
Shabbat.
unto them,
Have you not read what David did when he was hungered, and they that were with him? How he entered into the house of Elohim, and did eat the shewbread, which is not lawful for him to eat, neither for them which were with him, but only for the priests. Or have you not read in the law how that on Shabbat days the priests in the temple profane the Shabbat and are blameless? But I say unto you that in this place is one greater than the temple.
Greater than the
But
temple.
if you had known what this means, I will have mercy and not sacrifice.
And you would have not
condemned the
for
guilty.
the son of Adam.
Is Lord even of the Shabbat.
He just showed them he had rule over the Shabbat. When they say, because we was having this conversation, people like, oh, he's sinning because like this here. And I'm like, no, because the law tell you what you're supposed to do. If you're hungry, you're supposed to leave on the outer parts of your land so somebody can pluck so they can eat. But what they can't do is grab a bushel and take more. And we got in the aspect of this here because people see in it, and you know, that junk pissed me off because you niggas unmerciful. Because you'd rather niggas starve to death than the man with keeping the law. That's crazy. You know what I'm talking about? Now, I done gave 2 witnesses. Does anybody else have aspect that he had rule? But if you don't, that's okay. Because I got another one for you. Matthew 9 and 25. Let me make sure that's what it is. I might have told you the right chapter, wrong verse. I did. Mark 9 and 1. I mean, Matthew 9 and 1, excuse me. Matthew 9 and 1. You're definitely not 25. I had you way off course. It's 25 verses. You'd have read the wrong thing.
He said he entered into a ship.
Well, now you would have read the right thing on top of it. We'll deal with it. Come on.
And he entered into a ship and passed over and came into his own city. And behold, they brought him to a man sick of the palsy, lying on a bed. Yahushua, seeing their faith, said unto the sick of the palsy, Son, be of good cheer, your sins be forgiven you. And behold, certain of the scribes said within themselves, This man blasphemed. Yahushua, knowing the thought, said, Wherefore think you evil in your heart?
Why you think that?
For whether it is easier to say, Your sins be forgiven you, or to say, Arise and walk.
But that you may know
That the Son of Man have power on earth to forgive sins.
that's a king. I'm a ruler. I have authority. I have power. Now, I'm mentioning this here because these are the things that they were supposed to be paying attention to know that he was a prophet like unto Moses, because you were supposed to be looking at this man is going to be a lawgiver, this man is going to be a king, and this man is going to be a judge. So judges govern and they rule on cases. Now, we could read with the woman who got caught in adultery as the aspect of a judge. And Emma mentioned with Yahushua son of Nun holding up Moses' hands in Exodus 17. We're going to get to that because that's dealing with judgment. And then, of course, we've already kind of referenced how he was the lawgiver, but we'll ask the question again for informational purposes. But right now we on king. Now, how we looked at it, how he had rule? He had rule over the wind and the water. You know what I'm talking about? Now, we also looked at it. He said, hey, he's got rule because the way that he's speaking as one who do as he pleases. You know what I'm saying? Because it said, who can say to Yahuwah, why have you done now? He's in the heavens. He does as he pleases. You know what I'm talking about? Then we've also looked at, okay, he's a king because of what? What the one we just read for that? My mind bad. But one we just sitting back looking at, what did it do, my G? Now we're just looking at one where he say he a king because he forgives sin. And then we just looked at, he say he the king over the Sabbath. This showing you this is a king, he got rule. So when you looked at when Moses had described Moses as king, he had rule. He ruled over those people. But remember what 2 Samuel 22 tell you. He that ruleth amongst men must be what, Civic? You can't rule over men and be unrighteous, man. You know what I'm saying? And that be the aspect of majority of people. I don't care what they claim to be. They ruling over men, but they unrighteous. So that means, boy, God ain't put you there, boy. Boy, you wicked as hell, boy. You out here sniffing bus seats, boy. You know what I'm talking about? You out here doing all type of wild shenanigans and tomfooleries. You did? Well, I asked you to go at, sir. I did, but in my brain probably. Oh yeah, Matthew 8 or 9, where you was at. Pick it up at 18. And you so you again, then now he got ruled over death.
He said, while he spake these things unto them, behold, there came a certain ruler and worshipped him, saying, my daughter is even now dead. But come and lay your hand upon her, she shall live.
Live.
Yahushua arose and followed him, and so did his disciples. And behold, a woman which was diseased with an issue of blood 12 years came behind him, and touched the hem of his garment. For she said within herself, if I may but touch his garment, I shall be whole.
Whole.
Yahushua turned him about, and when he saw her, he said, daughter, be of good comfort, your faith hath made you whole.
Made you whole.
And the woman was made whole from that hour. When Yahushua came into the ruler's house and saw the minstrels and the people making a noise, he said unto them, give place, for the maid is not dead.
She ain't dead.
And they laughed him to scorn. But when the people were put forth, he went in and took her by the hand, and the maid arose. And the fame hereof went abroad into all that land. Yahushua departed thence, 2 blind men followed him, crying and saying, Son of David, have mercy on us. And when he was coming to the house, the blind men came to him. Yahushua said unto them, believe you that I am able to do this? They said unto him, yea, Lord. Then touched he their eyes, saying, according to your faith, be it unto you. And their eyes were opened. And Yahushua straightly charged them, saying, see that no man know.
Now stop. Now what does this relate to? Acts 10 and 34. Go ahead and read it.
Then Peter opened his mouth and said, of a truth, I perceive that Elohim is no respecter of persons, but in every nation he that fear him and work righteousness.
Yeah, that ain't the exact spot, but don't worry. Just keep on rolling. It's going to roll into it.
The word which Elohim sent unto the children of Yasharal, preaching shalom by Yahushua HaMashiach, he is Lord of all.
Of all.
That word I say, you know, which was published throughout all Judea and began from Galilee after the baptism which John preached.
But John,
how Elohim anointed Yahushua of Nazareth with the Ruach HaKadosh and with power, who went about doing good,
healing all those
that were oppressed of the devil.
Now stop. In Matthew 10, right? He tell you that you've been given all power from heaven to do what? To cast out devils, to tread on scorpions, and all of that type of deal. That's what kings have. They have power to rule. Kings rule over everything. We read in Matthew 9, because when he ruled over sickness, he ruled over death. He had the rule to forgive sins. So the same thing in John 9, because kings have mercy. Well, I mentioned that in John 8, whichever story it is with a woman in adultery, man. You know what I'm saying? He got power to do that. He had power over the heavens to steal the wind. Got power over the earth to steal the sea. You know what I'm saying? So these are the things that they would have realized. Hey, man, he's a malak. He's governing. He's ruling. But it didn't look at. They weren't paying attention to it in the aspect of looking at how Yahuwah ruled or how the Father ruled, because all these things are spoken of in the text. He say, "Who is the king? Yahuwah is the king." Read that for him, see? Psalm 24. And if you look at it, if his father's king, what you think his father got rule over? Everything. Everything, man. Everything. Come on.
The earth is Yahuwah's, the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein.
Hold on, the earth is whose?
Is Yahuwah's,
and the
fullness thereof,
and
the world and they that dwell therein.
And
for he hath founded it upon the seas and established it upon the floods.
What else?
Who shall ascend into the hill of Yahuwah, or who shall stand in his Kadosh place?
What else?
He that hath clean hands and a pure heart,
pure
not
heart,
lifted up his soul unto vanity, nor sworn deceitfully.
That's right.
He shall receive the blessing from Yahuwah and righteousness from the Elohim of his salvation. This is the generation of them that seek him, that seek your face, O Jacob, Selah. Lift up your heads, O you gates, and be you lifted up, you everlasting doors. The king of esteem shall come in.
The king of who?
Of esteem shall come in. Who is this king of esteem?
Who is it?
Yahuwah, strong and mighty.
Strong and mighty.
Mighty in battle.
Mighty in battle.
Lift up your heads, O you gates, even lift them up, you everlasting doors, and the king of esteem shall come in. Who is this king of esteem? Yahuwah of hosts, he is the king of esteem. Selah.
King got rule over everything. He said the heavens and the earth and the fullness thereof. He ruled over all that. Now the difference is Moses didn't rule over the heavens, but he had rule over Yasharal. Let's take a look at that just so we can establish that fact. Number 16 and 1 though. If you're gonna cut, gotta cover the whole play. You did. You know what I'm saying? Don't leave no room for gainsaying, as it says.
Said now Korah, the son of Izhar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, and Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab and On, the son of Peleth, sons of Reuben, took men. And they rose up before Moses with certain children of Yasharal, 250 princes of the assembly, famous in the congregation.
Men of renown.
And they gathered themselves together against Moses and against Aaron, and said unto them, You take too much upon you, seeing all the congregation are Kadash, every one of them, and Yahuwah is among them.
Now, what did we just read? He said, who made you a what? A prince and a ruler over us. Yahuwah made him a prince. That's why you can see the Malik later, because effectively Moses was a prince. He was the ruler. He was the chief. He was the captain. He was the commander of the people. Period, point blank. Continue.
He said, Yahuwah is among them. Wherefore then lift you up yourselves above the congregation of Yahuwah. When Moses heard, he fell upon his face.
What happened?
He spake unto Korah and unto all his company, saying, Even tomorrow Yahuwah will show who are his, and will cause him to come near us,
and
even him who have chosen.
And he will what?
Cause to come near
us. Need no more. I just wanted you to hear that part again. I mentioned 2 Samuel 22. Go ahead and run it. 22, it's 23, not 22. My bad. 2 Samuel 23 and 1. Run it.
Now these be the last words of David. David, the son of Jesse, said, The man who was raised up on high, the anointed of the Elohim of Jacob, the sweet psalmist of Yasharal said.
What he said?
The rock of Yahuwah spake by me.
What it said?
The word was in my tongue.
What it said?
The Elohim of Yasharal said, The rock of Yasharal spake to me.
What he spake?
He that rule over men must be just.
He that rule over men must be what?
Just.
He that rule over men must be what?
Just.
And it said Moses was the most meekest man upon the face of the earth. Called Yahushua the righteous. See, people don't pay attention to that. He that ruleth amongst men must be what?
Just.
What else?
Ruling in the fear of Elohim.
Ruling in the what?
In the fear of Elohim.
We can both read that Moses was faithful in all his house as a testimony was to come. Moses feared God. These are the aspects of the nuance. If you're talking about making a delineation between Moses and Yahushua, how that is. See, some people keep it simple. And some people can't go no further. We're going to go as far as Yahushua allow us to go, as far as the testimony is concerned. Continue.
And he shall be as the light of the morning when the sun rises, a morning without clouds, as the tender grass springing.
He said he's going to be as the light of the morning when the sun rises. Come on.
Clear shining after rain. Although my house be not so with Elohim, yet he hath made me with an everlasting covenant, ordered in all things and sure. For this is all my salvation and all my desire, although he make it not to grow. But the sons of Belial shall be all of them as thorns thrust away.
Thorns thrusted away.
Because they cannot be taken with hands.
Can't be taken with hands, so God gonna take them.
But the man that shall touch them must be fenced with iron.
Fenced with iron.
And spear. They shall be utterly burned with fire.
Utterly burned with fire. In the what?
In the same place.
That's another place, man. The man talking about, boy, you going to hell, boy.
These be the names of the mighty men.
Mm-hmm. So now my next question is, where can you read Yahushua being a lawgiver? I'll conclude with judge. But where can you read Yahushua being a lawgiver? They stuck. That's simple. You've already been given this information. You can be able to, and we gone.
John 13, we said, new commandment I give unto you.
Matthew 5 and 7. Go ahead and read that, man. I proceed at Matthew 5 and 7 in the verse.
Say, Baruch are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy.
Oh, you talking about Matthew chapter 5 through 7. Oh, yeah, we ain't reading all of them. You know what I'm saying? But that is a fair assessment. He talking about the entire 3 chapters. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's what he just put on the chapters 5 through. Now, I seen the hyphen, and I was waiting. Is he trying to say Matthew 5 and 7, or is he talking about all of them? And in Matthew 5 and 7, yeah, through 5 through 7, you can definitely see that he's giving instruction. Because a lawgiver is a giver of instruction. Read them Genesis 49 and 7 on general principle. I'll slide through here, man, and pick out which ones that we want to pick out. We'll pick out 2 to 3 witnesses out of each other. So how that sound, man?
It says, cursed be their anger, for it was fierce, their wrath, for it was cruel. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Yasharal.
Scatter.
Yehuda, you are whom your brethren shall praise. Your hand shall be in the neck of your enemies. Your father's children shall bow down before you. Yehuda is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, you are gone up. You stoop down, he couched as a lion, and as an old lion, who shall rouse him up? The scepter shall not depart from Yehuda, nor a lawgiver from between his feet.
Until
Shiloh
and under him,
the gathering of the people.
Don't read Kakak definition in its totality.
We got to cut out, decree, inscribe, set, engrave, portray, govern, to cut in or on, to cut upon, to engrave, to inscribe, to trace or mark out, to engrave, inscribe of a law, to inscribe an act, decree, one who decrees, a lawgiver.
One who decrees or a lawgiver.
Something decreed, or the law, to be inscribed.
So take it. Matthew 5:27.
You have heard that it was said by them of old time, you shall not commit adultery. But I say unto you that whosoever look on a woman to lust after her hath committed adultery with her already in his heart.
Now we know, without even going into David, we know that he just gave you the instruction of thou shalt not covet. Go ahead. No, that's good. That's one instruction. I ain't giving them all of them. Matthew 5:43. Indeed. Matthew 5:43.
You have heard that it has been said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say unto you, love your enemies, rebuke them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you.
And what instruction did he just give you? Bear no grudge against your neighbor. If your enemy be hungry, feed him. Matthew chapter 6. Come on, man. Verse 24.
No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve Elohim.
Therefore I say unto you,
take no thought for your life.
He gave you the instruction of Jeremiah 17:7. Blessed is the man who trusts in you, whose hope Yahuwah is. Go ahead.
What shall you, or what you shall eat, or what you shall drink, nor yet for your body what you shall put on. Is not the life more than meat, and the body than raiment?
Go to Matthew 6:1. Run it.
Take heed that you do not your alms before men to be seen of them, otherwise you have no reward of your Abba which is in Shamaim. Therefore, when you do your alms, do not sound the trumpet before you, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and in the streets, that they may have esteem of men. Truly I say unto you, they have their reward.
And you know what this is telling you? He that lendeth to the poor give to his maker. You know what that also tell you? Many places in the law, we just talked about that, about giving to the poor. He just adding the extra. Don't do it to be seen. Don't do it to be seen, which is goes back to the point what I was talking about before. I done had conversation with Bruce, man, we should record ourselves feeding these people, do this so people, man, I'm not doing that, bro. You know what I'm saying? I ain't even got to read. I'm not doing that, bro. Number one, that's embarrassing to the people who out there. You know what I'm saying? You want to plaster them out there so you can prove you righteous to all these other people. You weird. You know what I'm saying? And most of the things that most people do in the word is to be seen of others. Listen, Christian people have gatherings. Hebrew people have gatherings. And you know what all of them do? Show up to each other, take photographs with each other. And we here with the same woo, 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 go back home, be the same wicked nigga they wore before they left. You know what I'm saying? Just showing up to high five, man. What was even the purpose of being here for? Now, when I say that, is it anything wrong with a group of believers gathering together to have a good time in the Lord? Of course not. But there's still, when I mentioned that, is something tangible has to come out of that versus like photo ops. I give you a case in point. And this ain't to ridicule nobody. It's just habit of what people do, right? You got, quote unquote, 50 plus Shabbats in a year, right? How many times people take pictures of themselves on Shabbat and post it? Very rarely. Passover roll around, niggas won't stop posting photographs. You know what I'm saying? Tabernacles roll around, niggas ready to take photographs. Post them all over the place because you want everybody to see you in your tabernacle fit. Well, you lame, boy. You doing what the people do on Easter. You pick on them for that. You doing the same thing. But they doing the same thing. My God, today. I ain't saying that you're wrong for taking a photograph. I'm talking about the mentality. You doing the same thing. Why you don't want to take no pictures of yourself and sharing, post it up Sabbath. You know why? Because the Sabbath in July don't mean that much to you. The Sabbath in February don't mean that much to you. The Sabbath in November don't mean that much to you. But this Sabbath in April and October, they special. So I gotta let you see my outfit. I gotta let you see the thing on the back that say Passover. Happy unleavened bread. Happy tabernacles. I gotta let you see that. I ain't got no banner that say Happy Sabbath in the middle of June. You know what I'm talking about? They don't want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? See, they don't want to hear that, man. Is there something wrong with that? Did I say anything wrong? You let me know, man. You straighten me, man. Let me know. I'm not saying that to ridicule, man. I'm saying that for perspective. Just ponder upon that. You know what I'm saying? Listen, what's the other ones in my brain, man? If it ain't no gathering, and it's not to ridicule nobody who have gatherings, conferences, XYZ. You don't even want to talk to these people, man. How you with other people in the word, the only time you want to deal with them is when somebody throwing an event. Now you want to have a conversation and reach out. You's a goofy. You know what I'm saying? You's a goofy. You don't want to see how your brethren doing unless there's a impetus because of an occasion to do it. So you just don't want to see how your brethren doing on a random Tuesday. But, oh yeah, it's gonna be a gathering. I'm gonna be in your city, bro. Now you want to holler at me, man? So if there wasn't no gathering in the city, you wouldn't holler at me then. Is that what you're telling me? Now I'm not saying that's people's mentality. I'm telling you how stuff can be received. You know what I'm saying? Listen, we talk about this all the time. Now this is a little different, a further extreme, because like somebody I knew, she said she realized she might be neurodivergent. This basically means you got ADHD, autism, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But people be going through stuff and then, or have certain things, and then we be thinking that the people around you are trained professionals that can be able to spot these things. You know, if you ain't trained to spot autism, you don't know what that look like. You don't know what that look like. You just think, oh, this nigga's weird. You know what I'm saying? If you don't know what depression look like, you're not going to be able to spot that. We talk about it before, we talk about people being suicidal. But if you don't know the signs of suicide, you're not going to be able to spot that. And I don't know why people be thinking, this is the thing I'm going to mention this for, right? If you need help, just say it. Because why are you expecting untrained people to be able to spot what only a professionally trained individual would be able to spot? Like I told you before, like, okay, one nephew committed suicide. Once they learn the signs of suicide, you know when people are, I seen those signs. But until you train on that, you're not going to recognize that. You're just going to think a nigga what? Being moody. Or being this, that, that. You don't know. Because I'm going to tell you something, man. People who are chronically depressed, they can cover that junk up good. You know what I'm talking about? They can cover that junk up good. I didn't even say cover it up. They would be able to shield that as to not draw attention. Yet some will be crying for help. I just was watching a video where the individual was like, no, that was about Lil Papa. And they was like, when they sat back and they looked at it, that man had been crying for help for years. You know what I'm saying? But when you don't know what you're listening to, when I say listen to, not the music, but the speech, and you don't know what you're looking for, you're not going to realize that this is a cry for help, because most people don't know how to tell you, I want to kill myself. Because most people are not going to come out plainly and say that. And you know why they're not going to come out plainly and say that? Because most people are not trained professionally to know how to respond to somebody saying, I'm thinking about putting my brains on the carpet. Yeah. And I ain't, because you know how most of you think, oh, you just doing that for attention. Some people ain't doing that for attention. They really going to go do that. You know what I'm talking about? You got some people who are alcoholics, they crying for help, but they don't know how to say, my liver is dying. I really hate my life. This is why I drink so much. I really want somebody to come in here and help me put this liquor down, but I don't know how to say that out loud. So then I'm doing certain things that show that I really need some help. But hey, you're not trained to pick up on that. You know why? Because you're not a trained AA counselor. You know what I'm saying? So you don't know. I mean, you're mentioning that because people have extreme unfair expectations for people to pick up on things that only professionals would do. You know what I'm saying? And it don't be no different than with the word. And you know why people want to do that? Because you don't want to open your mouth and actually say it. You want somebody to be able to recognize it. But how am I gonna recognize it, nigga? I don't know that stuff, boy. Most of y'all couldn't pick out a drug addict if you seen one. You know what I'm talking about? Because I say that because it's a lot of people, unless you been around drug addicts or you were trained to spot a drug addict, you wouldn't even know this nigga's a junkie. Whole time you think he normal. People be like, you can always tell people who smoke crack. Well, I know people who smoke crack, they were doctors, lawyers, car salesmen, get out and went to work every day. Didn't give you no sign. Smoke crack like you smoke cigarettes. You know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about go from Friday, maybe even Thursday. You know what I'm saying? That they got off to Sunday, go to work Monday like it was nothing. That man done smoked for 4 days straight. He ain't been asleep. He ain't been asleep. This man is a whole crackhead. Whole crackhead. You'll never know it. You see him every day, see him, you think, hey, that's something. Same with cocaine. Man snoring all the coke. Get up, go to work like it's nothing. You know what I'm saying? When his life fall apart, you wondering what's happened. I never knew. This man was on drugs the whole time. You just didn't know what to look for or how to identify, so you didn't know. How you think people ended up marrying hoes? She was a hoe the whole time. She showed you she was a hoe. You couldn't recognize her. How you didn't know that man was a woman beater? You know why? Because you're not trained to look for that type of stuff, or you ignore things like that willfully. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't want to believe what you're seeing. I'm telling you, man, human behavior is human behavior. And then, you know what I'm saying? That junkie is what it is. That junkie is what it is. Yeah, Michael Irvin and LT, man. LT tell you he's smoking crack before games. Now, people knew Michael Irvin was on coke because he was obvious that he was on drugs. You know what I'm saying? Especially if he was around. But ain't nobody know LT was smoking crack, though. It took a long time for them people to really realize that this man was a crackhead. Do you understand how wild they got to be, bro, to smoke crack before playing a professional football game in the mid-'80s, bro? Crack, we talking about, man. Not a beer. Listen, you had a team full of baseball players in the 70s for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Man, there's a black baseball player, if I'm not mistaken, this man threw a no-hitter on LSD. Do you know how wild that is, man? You know how hard it is to throw a no-hitter? Can you imagine how difficult that is to throw it on LSD? Hold on, let me find that black man. And we'll do judge and get on out of here. There it is. The pitcher who threw a no-hitter on acid was Doc Ellis on June 12, 1970. Threw a no-hitter while under the influence of LSD. He miscalculated the date while partying in Los Angeles and realized he had to pitch in San Diego just hours after taking the drug. He walked 8 batters. And he said his catcher, Jerry May, put reflective tape on his fingers so Ellis could see the pitching signals. He stated the ball seemed to change size and the batter and catcher appeared to move in and out of focus. He later recalled hallucinating that the home plate umpire was Richard Nixon and seeing Jimi Hendrix swinging the guitar at the plate. It's a true story now. The whole team, the whole Pittsburgh Pirate team got in trouble because they was on drugs. Dave Parker, Concepcion, y'all know who that is. Dave Parker, Hall of Fame, great baseball player, black dude. You know what I'm saying? Most of these players are black dudes. You know what I'm saying? You look it up, man. Pittsburgh Pirates, 1970, whole team on drugs. You know what I'm saying? But this man threw a no-hitter on LSD, man. You understand how wild that is, bro? It's not, listen, and nobody knew these men on drugs. These men on drugs, bro. I know most of y'all don't know about baseball, so you wouldn't care about that. But I knew about that. I just couldn't remember his name. You know what I'm saying? So now, of course, you got Luke 24, which we mentioned earlier, with him showing them that the whole book was about him showing that he was a lawgiver. We finished the last one in Matthew chapter 7. Of course, he telling you, judge not lest you be judged. Get yourself in order. You know what I'm talking about, which goes in, rebuke your neighbor. So on and so forth. So then the last one. How is he a judge? Did you read judge by definition? Shafat, you did. So how is he a judge? Because we know how Moses is a judge. He gave the judgment to the Levites to take up the sword and take out everybody who had partook in worshiping the golden calf. But then, and I don't want you to just be focused on condemnation. Because we could do the intercessor part tomorrow. The intercessor is something all in and all by itself. You know what I'm talking about? But nevertheless, how is he a judge? We got to get everybody off here, man. Because Lord willing, 12 hours from now, we'll be in the spot. How was he a judge? I'm going to help y'all out with one. Go to John 16:7, see.
Nevertheless, I tell you the truth, it is expedient for you that I go away. For if I go not away, the Comforter will not come unto you. But if I depart, I will send him unto you. And when he was done, he will prove the world of sin and of righteousness and of judgment.
You will prove the world of what?
Of sin and of righteousness and of judgment.
What else?
Of sin because they believe not on me.
What else?
Of righteousness because I go to my Abba.
And what else?
Of judgment because the prince of this world is
That's the first place where you show yourself as a judge. Well, we can also see that with there because Moses judged Pharaoh. You know what I'm talking about? I think we talked about that when Moses judged Pharaoh. How do we recall that? Because he said, because under Pharaoh, what was Moses going to be serving? God. And God said, I'm going to judge Pharaoh. And Moses was as God to Pharaoh. So Moses represented God in judgment because we talked about how judgment was given into the hand of the Son, just like God gave judgment into the hand of Moses. So when he said the prince of this world is judged, we see how Yahushua is operating in that same fashion, bringing judgment on death, bringing judgment on the prince of this world, condemned, and therefore vindication for the nation, bringing about that salvation. You understand? So listen, does anybody have any other witness of him being a judge? See, he didn't tend to be a judge over matters of men. Remember when they came to him and he said, man, who made me a judge and a divider over you? He said, man, I ain't coming out here to do that, boy. Is you tripping? Anybody else got an example of him being a judge before we roll on out of here? On another note, Monte said he got a set of flags in. I don't remember the address to that part, man. But we playing flag football. Not this Sunday, but next Sunday, man. That's what the girls asked to play. You know what I'm saying?
John 8:1 with the adulterous woman.
That's fair. That's the same thing Dre just said. Go to John 8:1. That's fair.
Yahushua went unto the Mount of Olives, and early in the morning he came again into the temple, and all the people came unto him, and he sat down and taught them. The scribes and Pharisees brought unto him a woman taken in adultery. They had set her in the midst. They said unto him, Master, this woman was taken in adultery.
We playing on grass, cuz.
In the very act. Now Moses and the law commanded us that such should be stoned. But what say you?
What say you?
This they said, tempting him, that they might have to accuse him. But Yahushua stooped down, and with his finger wrote on the ground, as though he heard them not.
Mm-hmm.
So when they continued asking, he lifted up himself and said unto them,
what did he say?
He that is without sin among you, let him first cast a stone at her.
Mm-hmm.
And again he stooped down and wrote on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And they which heard it, being convicted by their own conscience, went out one by one, beginning at the eldest, even unto the last. Yahushua was left alone, and the woman standing in the midst. And Yahushua lifted up himself, and saw none but the woman. He said unto her, Woman, where are those your accusers? Have no man condemned you? Said, No man, Lord. And Yahushua said unto her, Neither do I condemn you. Go and sin no more.
Go and sin no more. And of course, you know, if Yahushua mark iniquity, who should stand? There's forgiveness with him that he might be feared. That's also the aspect of him being a king. But it's also the aspect of judgment, because he can govern and condemn and vindicate and punish who he pleases, and he can show mercy on whom he pleases. Because he said you were telling he took that out.
No. You know what I'm saying? But this is how you see how he a prophet like under Moses. So if you didn't hearken to the king, lawgiver, and judge during his time, you say as the writer of Hebrews wrote, you'll be killed with just read it for him, but I'm gonna say it wrong, man. Hebrew 10 and 26.
For if we sin willfully after that we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remain no more sacrifice for sins,
None.
but a certain fearful looking for of judgment and fiery indignation, which shall devour the adversaries.
Devour.
He that despised Moses' law
died
without mercy under 2 or 3 witnesses.
How much?
More sore punishment.
Suppose.
You that which shall he be thought worthy, who have trodden under the foot the son of Elohim,
And done despite.
counted the blood of the covenant wherewith he was sanctified, an unkadash thing, not done despite unto the ruach of grace.
And he said, whoso not hearken unto him, I will what? Require it of him. So Yahshua telling the church in Revelation to repent or he will remove their candle. Yeah, and that's judgment. Indeed. You know what I'm saying? Read that for him, man. Revelation 2.
Verse 5.
Yeah.
So remember therefore from whence you are fallen, and repent, and do the first works, or else I will come unto you quickly, and will remove your candlestick out of his place, except you repent.
And you can read that in other places in Revelation where he referencing bringing forth judgment on them. But hallelujah for Yahushua in the word, man. I appreciate y'all time this evening. I bless y'all the house Elohim in the name of Yahushua, man. Y'all willing, man. We'll be back at it on tomorrow, man. Doors open at 11:30. You already know what it is. You know what I'm saying? We had some technical difficulty last week. The internet was tripping, something like that. So that's why we was a little tardy to the occasion. But y'all willing, man. We try to get the rolling for 12:30. You did. It's amazing. You niggas asked to start. Yeah, let's start early. You niggas still late. That's amazing. So that goes to show it don't matter what time it is. Some of you niggas gonna show up when you feel like it. My God, today. You know what I'm talking about? Got to do better. Nevertheless. Amen. Praise the Lord indeed. Man, shoot, Monte, man, we went around at the Geigers, man. I got me a deer burger. That joint tastes like a hamburger. I ain't gonna lie to you. The bison and elk, I always can tell the difference. I'm gonna see what that buffalo hitting photo. Yeah, I'm gonna see what that buffalo hitting for, man. Dog was talking about if you get that deer sausage, they like some of them like to slide pork on that casing. I can't speak to that. Nah, we was in there, man. Old white dude bought a nigga arm, but like this here, man, but he back there slaughtering them. I'm dead serious. That man was cleaning up and everything. Bought a man arm, man. And the man had to look every bit of 70, 75. Both of these men, old liver spots. You know what I'm saying? They in there, boy. I'm talking about you see all the saints, boy. They in there butchering that, boy. Man, that junk had on the wall. That boy said, man, you come with your own wild game, we gonna butcher it for you. Nah, you caught a deer, I kill him. Nah, well, you already killed him. I'm gonna cut him up for you, skin him, dice him. You know what I'm saying? Deer burger was decent though. You know what I'm saying? Decent though. You know, I see nigga be tripping like I said, but nigga be like, dude, you can go to the yeah, nigga. I like hamburgers, cuz. And I try buffalo burger, bison burger, elk burgers, nigga, veal, ground beef, deer. If it's lawful, man, put him in a hamburger. I'm gonna put him on a bun, nigga. See what he hitting for. You know what I'm talking about? Some of y'all might not like hamburgers. I do. You know what I'm talking about? But nevertheless, I appreciate y'all. Bless y'all the house. I'll in the name of Yahushua, man. Y'all willing to be back at it, man. You know, before you know it, it's gonna be August, and before you know it, it's gonna be trumpets. You know what I'm saying? Snowball market, which I was informed. I go into great detail, man, that the prices for the feast days are going to have to increase. Obviously, I think most of you would already know that, considering that you buy food for yourselves. You know what I'm saying? That the prices in this country are amazing, to say the least. You know what I'm talking about?
I did mention to y'all, man. I'll talk about it, Lord willing, if I remember tomorrow, man. The National Defense Authorization Act of 2027 in Section 219. Boy, they got a provision in that particular piece of legislation that has presently been passed by the House of Representatives of the Congress of the United States of America to cause integration between the Israeli and the United States military with the sharing of information and many other things. Now, on this face, you might think that that's not a big deal. But in reality, well, that's a form of treason, boy. You know what I'm talking about? That junk done been slid to the Senate. They ain't passed it yet, but listen what I'm telling you, man. That's what I be mean when I tell you, like, boy, this whole finished, boy. Boy, no country in the height of any power and authority would seek to integrate and meld their military with another country, man. Not by doggone legislation. You know what I'm talking about? Never. I guess you know. This whole days is numbing, you hear me? But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Y'all willing, man, I remember, man, we can read over it, man. I'm not gonna read the bill, though, I'll tell you that. But yeah, man, y'all willing till tomorrow. Oh, yeah, say, boy, I got you, man. Last time I did that, I forgot a lot of those.